BOTTOMSHELF, a podcast about video games, about other things, but mostly video games. Today we're talking about the video game. We're talking about Metal Gear Solid, the PlayStation classic. My name is Erik. I'm the commanding officer of this podcast recording operation. And joining me today is our man out in the field, our special agent is Kyle.
Who gave you that authority to be the man in charge?
Don't question me. We have our
yes, sir.
We have our survivalist expert and gameplay tips. It's Johan.
Hi.
You wouldn't survive in the wild, who are you kidding?
I've got some training.
And of course,
I've been to the woods.
we have our anonymous informant. We don't know his identity. We don't even know his name. Craig.
Yeah, that's...
We
wait a
don't know
minute.
Craig's
Wait a
name.
minute. Hello, everyone. I may or may not be Craig.
I thought Erik, you were gonna do like the animal name code names like they have in the game.
I can't figure out.
Craig was an acronym the whole time for something else.
Makes you think.
Like something.
Combat ready.
Think of a word that begins with the letter C, and your mind immediately goes to that.
That's getting demonetized. Awesome. Okay.
So yeah, Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear in general. It's a bit of a long-running franchise since the 80s. Metal Gear Solid was perhaps the first game to really put the series in the limelight. Hence why every other game is called Metal Gear Solid, mostly after this.
So it's a MSX Erasure.
That's Revengeance Erasure as well.
When did the first one come out? Was it 87?
It's 87, yes.
Okay,
on the old MSX computer. The first game actually got an English release back then as well, but very limited. Most of us know most of it is the port that was on the NES. That's at least what I played.
Is that the I Feel Asleep game?
Yeah.
Yes.
I own both of those.
And then they made... Because they made a sequel, but it wasn't actually anything to do with it. It was just a sequel to the shitty
from what
port.
I know, they made two sequels. They made a sequel that's actually based around Kojima's vision, then they made like a US-only one that was completely outside of Kojima's vision.
The funny thing is they actually started on the NES sequel before Kojima did his sequel. Mm-hmm. And the guy, one of the developers who worked on the NES sequel, actually talked with... met randomly Kojima at like a train, and they started talking about, I'm doing the sequel for your game. I was like, maybe you should do a sequel instead. I was like, okay, I guess I'll do it.
You should make a sequel to your own game instead of me.
I never thought of that.
I once tried to buy at auction the MSX version, but it went too high.
You have an MSX to play it on?
No, but
that's the problem for future me.
Yes.
Anyways,
I'm a hoarder.
Preservation fetish. I forgot about that.
I'm a hoarder. Anything that Hideo Kojima touches, I buy.
Yeah. That is true.
Those MSX games lately got re-released on the PS2 as alongside as a bonus with Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah. So
that's how I play both of those. And yeah.
It's a straight port, I assume nothing kind of done.
I mean, they actually changed. I mean, they retranslated it to be actually.
I was going to say better. That they improved the translation,
and they also did some graphical changes, because in the Metal Gear 2, all the portraits of all the characters was based on real life people. Solid Snake is basically just Mel Gibson in that game. And
wasn't he just Kyle Reese in the first game, wasn't he?
You're thinking of
this is some forbidden law. I wasn't ready for this.
And also the main bad guy, Big Boss, was just Sean Connery with like a eye patch. That's it.
I love some casual kind of property theft of someone's face. I love that. It's fantastic.
Anyway, after these two Metal Gear games was made, Kojima worked on a different project. He worked on... he actually did Snatcher before Metal Gear 2 on the MSX as well. But Snatcher then got a Sega CD release, which in English...
No one bought.
Yeah,
I own it.
No one bought Snatcher or Sega CD for that matter.
Only Johan bought it. Confirmed.
I had a Sega CD. I had like 3 games for it. Snatcher was not one of them.
And as he was working on like sort of spiritual follow-up in Psycho... Police Knots, sorry. That's Psychonauts is a different
Psychonauts?
Psycho Police.
Police Snatcher Knots, yes. Yeah, when he was working on Police Knots in 1994, he started planning on an eventual sequel to his Metal Gear games. originally for the 3DO, which I did not know until I started researching this.
I mean,
Well,
I think
that
it was
popular
the.
console.
It would have been the most powerful console at the time, so that was
that
probably
would
part of the
that
thinking.
would have saved the 3DO.
Who made the 3DO again?
Panasonic?
I thought
Yeah, it was yeah, well, I think it was.
Yeah.
I think the CDI was
I'm
filmed.
not
so
going
I
to
was who
answer
did the,
because I
the
don't
one.
know.
But by the time development started in 1995, the 3DO was basically dead, so they shifted over to the PS1.
Maybe when it launched. It
Yeah.
was never alive, the 3DO.
I still believe.
So the development team was pretty small over at Konami. 20 people all in all. Pretty small for such a big game.
But the current game development team, isn't it? If not smaller than it is now.
Yeah. That it took about 4 years of development. It was released in 1998 in September Japan, October North America. So pretty quick turnaround.
Same
there.
year Banjo Kazooie came out.
Same year as Half-Life came out, if I remember correctly.
And other games, I'm sure.
Ocarina of Time
And
came
the
out.
Because I remember 98 being a really good year for video games.
Crash Bandicoot 3, Tekken 3, Pokemon Yellow, Spiral the Dragon, Mario Party, the first one. And my favourite
These
game,
are all
Gex,
future
Enter the Gecko.
episodes.
I'd do a Gex episode, that sounds phenomenal.
By the way, I checked up. Gex is the best-selling game on the 3DO.
Yay!
Yeah, there is a
the
god.
first Gex. Wasn't that like a launch title with the 3DO though?
Might have been.
Probably, yes.
Not even the best Gex game.
It's the worst one. Of the three that exist.
The European release of Metal Gear Solid was in 1999 in April, I believe. They did make a few changes for the North American and European versions from the Japanese version. One of them being adding difficulties. The original game didn't have it. So in the original Japanese difficulties, pretty much the easy difficulty in the North American version. So
made Snake Cockney as well, which was quite of a bold move.
Hello.
Is this just some like weird way of Kojima saying that people in Japan aren't good at playing video games?
If I remember,
in me stomach acid.
if I remember correctly as well, we didn't touch on that, but the normal, at least the PC version of Metal Gear Solid had the special missions, which was on the PlayStation. That was separate.
I mean,
yes.
that VR standalone thing.
Yeah, because they released that as a bundle thing. Because I remember my PC version back in the space year of 1998, 99 had the special missions with it bundled.
Yeah, that was released in the year 2000. I actually played a little bit of like the special VR missions before this. So that actually has a fair few fun extra modes, but you have to play through a lot of slog in order to get to those, so it's not really worth it in the long
That's
run.
thematically appropriate.
Yeah. But let's get to the actual game, what's it about and such. So, the game is about the Solid Snake, retired former Foxhound soldier. Foxhound being like a special operatives like sort of unit, US unit that does Black Ops stuff and such. Solid Snake is...
Sorry, did they ever point out if they're army or marine or...
Ooh, I'm not sure what...
According to Wikipedia, they are a renegade special forces unit.
Yeah, but
Special
well, they
forces.
were renegade at that point. I mean,
Yeah.
before then.
They were just...
I imagine they were
generic
less
special
renegade
ops.
at the time. Okay, fair enough. Mr. Pedantic, alright.
Sorry,
So
continue.
They don't even really have ranks as per se. They have code names and such.
They have
Besides-
code names.
It's just,
What more do you
it's just
want?
like a gang,
Yeah.
more basically.
So anyway,
The E-Team.
Solid Snake is taking out retirement from Alaska in order to infiltrate Shadow Moses Island, which has been taken over by Foxhound having gone rogue alongside the next generation special forces, I believe. And
Like a Star Trek.
It's
yeah.
just like Donkey Kong Country.
Yes. Okay. Under advisement from his former commanding officer, Colonel Campbell, Sussex infiltrates the island in order to rescue the DARPA chief and the president of ARPSTEC, Kenneth Baker. While there, Sussex figures out that DARPA and ARPSTEC are working on a new Metal Gear. A Metal Gear in this universe is a bipedal sort of tank with the capability of launching a nuclear nuke from anywhere in the world.
A
Basically.
nuclear nuke. Wow.
Well, yeah.
I was going to say, does anyone remember what DARPA stands for? Is it
I was going to ask the
No.
exact same thing. I was going to see who knew that one.
It's an
Department-
actual real thing as
Yeah,
well.
no, it exists
Yeah.
in real life as well, but I don't remember what it stands for.
I mean, it's not important as per se.
I was going to say as well, is the Metal Gear in real life, would that be made by
No,
these,
they don't exist, I'm sure.
No, what's the
We
people
would-
making the robots?
The labs people. What are those called?
I was going to ask actually first. Do you need to have any prior knowledge of the early Metal Gear games to fully understand the context behind Metal Gear
so-
Solid? I've played none of
No.
these games before at
No,
all.
no,
I think
no.
I'm
I
the
suppose
only
we
person
should,
going in
um,
completely blind.
Point out at this point that all of us have varying degrees of info on Metal Gear going
Yeah.
into this.
Yes, I have
but
none.
by the way,
Kyle basically is going in this completely blind, which is
I
gonna be
know,
fun.
I know. I feel asleep, and beyond that, I am a blank canvas.
and then you fell asleep. Yes.
Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency.
Oh, but,
Nice.
but now we know that. Fun.
No, but there's several conversations past that now.
Does it like mention anything in the game at any point that prior knowledge might have
I
helped
think that
with?
there's something in the main menu that gives you a
Yes.
brief overview if you want to read. I don't think it's necessary
Yeah,
to understand the game.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
like a
But
under
it's
special.
There's some characters that are mentioned in this game came from the older games, but you don't
Yeah.
need to know about that really.
Yeah, the game.
Okay, that's fair enough.
The game gives a pretty good general overview
Yeah.
of her Snake's past and
Yeah,
the
I
characters.
didn't feel lost at any point. I was just curious more than anything.
No,
That's
it's
fair.
just given that it was only available on the MSX, I think it would have been a hard sell to make it like integral to play those games to understand.
I just
Get
thought
back
about
to into the PS1 game.
considering this is Hideo Kojima, I would have been like there was a cutscene like, I should get an MSX.
Probably.
God, man, I love Konami.
I feel asleep right now.
Oh. So
Anyway, sorry. Continue with the story.
yeah, so Sosek does manage after finding both the DARPA chief and the Armstech president. They both die after providing some exposition on the Metal Gears. At which point it becomes Snake's mission to meet up with the chief engineer of the Metal Gear project, Hal Emmerich, and also get assistance from Meryl Silverberg, the Colonel Campbell's niece, who is stationed on the island.
Very subtle guard costume who watched her instructing her stuff. And Snake thinks to himself, that guard is dummy thick. And then she runs off.
Yeah. I mean, that's the basic overview. We can maybe go over like some of the characters in the game, because
Can we?
Yeah, I mean,
Before that, can we just, as little Craig said, you've never played it. Eric, had you played it?
I never actually played through the Metal Gear Solid fully before. I've seen playthroughs. I've read up on it. I read plot synopses. I played basically all the other Metal Gear Solid games besides 4 because I didn't have a PS3 at the time. So this was the first time I fully by myself played through Metal Gear Solid 1.
if you've watched the game, you've played the game, let's be honest.
Craig, had you played it before?
I have, but I didn't play it at the time. I
played it.
played. I think it was whenever the that HD collection with 2 and 3 included came out. It was around that time where I just marathoned them.
The PS3 era, 2006,
Yeah.
7 maybe?
No,
Something
that would be like
Because around that time, you would have been able to play 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the PS3. So at that point, I thought, okay, this is my time to just play through the whole series
the
up to that
HD
point.
collection was like 2010,
Okay, it would have been around then.
2009, 2010.
So it wasn't. I was relatively
2011,
late to the
actually.
party, but at this point, I'm pretty caught up.
I played it on the PlayStation when it was new, and then I got it for the PC, and then I
So
played
only
it.
you've got any sort of nostalgic attachment towards
Yeah.
this game in particular.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, by the way, Johan, do you want
Yeah.
to share how you played this game?
Oh, this one I played it on the PSP Go.
Yeah!
Also in widescreen, even though the game is 4x3.
As intended by Kojima at the time,
Yes.
handheld in the 16:9.
Which I wouldn't have realized until you pointed it out when you saw a picture of my end screen.
When
Didn't think of
all
how
the
thick they
characters
all
are
looked.
thick.
No, I didn't. I was
Yeah, they all
playing
look
it
really chunky.
played on a little handheld.
That really annoys me when people play like games that were never meant for widescreen, and then don't understand why.
I'm so used to the game. It's like I don't care. I know what's happening.
You're not seeing what I'm seeing.
No, it's like when people have like audio files like listen to these speakers compared to these speakers. Like it's music.
It's like when people play like old NES games on like a 50-inch plasma TV and the pixels literally like the size of fists.
I was reading that odd anti-aliasing effect on. It's all like smudged, and it's like, oh, what are you doing?
Anyway.
I was like folks who watch like movies at like 60 FPS on their TVs. And it's like, no, it looks fine to me. And it's like, are you fucking blind? But yeah, you played the game and enjoyed it. That's the key thing.
Yeah. So, anyways, the characters. Let's start with the main character, Solid Snake, as voiced by David Hayter. His first, pretty much the defining role of his as a voice actor. The Solid Snake is like a gruff, retired soldier type. Right off the bat, you get the feeling that he's very world weary. He's pretty much done with everything, but he's sort of roped into it, not over some sense of justice or anything, but just because, it doesn't have anything better to do, I guess.
I have nothing to do.
Walking, talking, 80s action cliche, and I love it.
What year did it takes place in the space year of 2000?
2005.
Oh!
2005, assumed that the Cold War never ended and it just carried on up until the present day.
Yeah, sure.
It makes sense, actually. I was thinking, like, he's retired, but then he's like 34, I think? But you would be... If you started young in the military, you would be retired by that age, I think.
He was born in the 70s, I believe.
I mean, if you did a full... I think you could... Because in my head, I think you can actually retire fairly early.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
So anyways, he's the old... Well, not old, but middle-aged retired soldier, sort of legend in his field, but it doesn't feel like it. He's assisted via a support crew over what they call codec, like a radio thing. But Colonel
You'll get very used to.
Colonel Campbell, who's basically like the Colonel Troutman from Rambo, sort of like...
He really is.
The old CEO who's back for one other go, but who may be hiding a few truths along the way.
Your motives aren't being revealed, and it's all, that's classified information, and all of that.
It's below your pay grade, Snake.
Yeah, he's voiced by Paul Eiding, who has done a lot of voice actor roles. You can hear his voice in like Fallout games, in Skyrim, such things.
That's Liam Neeson.
Oh, he's one of those like, oh, it's that guy, kind of guys.
Then there's Dr. Naomi Hunter, who's the chief physician and also expert on all things foxhound. She's voiced by Jennifer Hale.
I did not know that.
Yeah, old FemShep.
You got FemShep on board, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I can't unhear that now. Okay.
But then they, I think, wasn't it from between 1 and Twin Snakes, they changed the voice actor, didn't they?
There was only one recast. I'll get to that later.
My favorite game on the Citadel.
There's
someone else I was thinking of.
Yeah, I know exactly what the story is, but yeah, continue.
There's Mei Ling, the intelligence officer who's in charge of saving your game and giving you proverbs.
There's a Chinese
enthusiast.
She's voiced by Kim May Guest. She, for some reason, has a Chinese accent in this game, even though she's Chinese American and was raised in America. That's one of the things they actually changed for the Twin Snakes game that I sort of appreciate. Because it's weird having her talk in a very stereotypical
Makes her more distinctive from the other characters, I guess, having a Chinese accent. So I can understand why that they would do that.
And then there's Nastasha Romanenko, the Ukrainian nuclear expert and weapons expert who mostly talks to you about guns and stuff and doesn't really provide much else.
She's really
Jesus Christ!
She's really good at giving descriptions of weapons while still having a cigarette balanced in her mouth perfectly.
I just realized a thing. Do they give her her codec number? Because I don't think I called her a single time. There was empty spaces in my codec.
I think there's an option where if you call the colonel at some point, he'll mention, or if you want more information on weapons.
Yeah,
because I was
call this number.
I think I did that once in the entire game.
I forgot about Natasha because Yeah, I didn't call.
It's entirely possible to to not
Yeah.
ever find out that codec, and you just never get any context to that.
Also, you'll never know she's Ukrainian unless you talk to her a bunch, because she suddenly mentioned that she was 10 years old when she lived in Pripyat and her parents died during the Chernobyl
30,000
accident.
people used to live there.
Yeah.
That's still the case.
Anyways, while Snake is on Shadow Moses Island, he meets up with his allies Meryl Silverberg, voiced by Demi Mae West, who is the niece of Colonel Campbell, and also a character from Police Notes, even though these two games aren't in the same universe, which is weird.
I read that and I was doing my research. Yeah, that's a bold one.
Anyway, she plays a role of like the sort of not wannabe soldier, sort of,
the girl.
the rookie.
No, she's the
Slash, yeah, she is resident girl. Yes, like, I'm tough. I can be a soldier, and Snake's like, no.
I've gotten training to resist the charms of men.
Girl,
like, what?
Snake's like, ew, cooties. No. Girls are cool.
Not before marriage.
And then
I can only stare before marriage.
and then at one point, Snake gets a call from the mysterious Deep Throat, an informant of unknown. This randomly pops on and say, "Hey, you got a bomb on you. Better throw that away."
Named after the hit movie Deep Throat.
Yeah.
So it's Richard Nixon calling in every time.
Yeah.
He just goes on the phone. Yeah.
And the last ally Snake meet is, of course, Dr. Hal Emmerich, also known as Otacon.
Mr. Master Miller as well on the.
Oops.
Oh, right, Master Miller. Fuck. I forgot to note him.
Well, he's not
that important.
Disregard that.
Can I take up one thing? I've always found it weird with the codec. It's supposed to be like they got like things in their inner ear, right?
Yeah, they stimulate the bone.
So they just talk.
How can they see each other's faces?
Yeah, I understand. It's supposed to. It's to.
I think that's just a visual aid to the player, Kyle.
But it's always annoyed me. Like they talk like they can see each other. Like because you can
during
see
like
their
a
faces.
reveal later where someone moves the costume, you can see it happening in his ear somehow.
No, he could hear the costume changing.
I could hear the sunglasses come off.
What? So anyway,
I hear hair being ruffled. Excuse me.
Yeah, Master Miller is there to give you survivalist tips.
It tells you about rats and shit.
Talk. Yeah,
he knows lots about rats as well, which is good to know. Yeah,
and tells you how to best play video games.
I don't know. Eric, do you know, or have any of you found? Is Master Miller in Metal Gear or Metal Gear 2?
He's
in Metal Gear 2.
Yes.
Okay, because I only know him from this. From Peace Walker and
5?
Yeah, 5.
Yeah, he gets fleshed out a lot later. Yes.
Can we talk codec for a little second?
Okay, back to the codec.
How many codec calls there actually are, and just how stop and start the codec calls.
Well,
there's a lot of
place. It takes the place out of the cutscenes.
Like, I wish you could actually like move and hear the codec going at the same time in certain cutscenes, just to keep the flow of gameplay going.
You complained about Batman walking around with us.
he walked very slowly. I want to still be in full motion whilst also listening to.
No, then you won't be paying attention to it.
I will be. I'm good at that. It's often like you have another point there where you get the same codec call like 3 times in like a minute. You move forward like 10 steps. Near when you get to the Metal Gear, you're going up the ladder and you get like 3 codec calls from Otacon back to back.
It's used a lot as a tool.
And it's like
give storytelling in the game.
Yeah, instead of cutscenes. Yes.
Basically.
Just talk to me and let me move at the same time at least once. It's just so it takes you out of the game. I think it's
but then you'd miss
that's my own.
Then you'd miss those cool drawings of their faces,
which is vital to the plot. You're absolutely right. I retract my previous statements. Never mind.
I'm gonna guess.
Given the amount of dialogue in the game, I don't really mind too much.
Yeah, I don't.
Because I don't know. I can't think of another way they could have really handled it without it.
It's funny that you watch
at some point you're gonna have to take control away from the player just to get all this info out. So you might as well do it that way.
At some point, but if you watch the actual like a long play of the game and actually just kind of subtract gameplay from just kind of cutscenes or codec calls, there's not really a whole lot of game left. And I think they could have maybe squeezed some of that context into the gameplay, made it a little bit more kind of free flowing that way.
That's the Metal Gear way.
Yeah.
A lot of games can do kind of dialogue and action at the same time, and it works quite well. But the Metal Gears seem to just bypass all of that completely. Which if that's a stylistic choice, then fair enough. But I found it quite jarring after a while, personally.
I think it's not as well. Okay, maybe I should be careful what I say, but it's. I think it gets better in the later games with the more technology they have. So it's not just blank screen with green faces.
The idea that I can't move and also understand plot at the same time is a little bit. I don't know. I don't like it. I can do both. I'm intelligent.
Can I just talk about the drawed faces? I don't know if that is because I really like the art style. Joji
Shinkawa. It's very
I think that's
Metal
him
Gear.
as well. I think that's his art style as well.
He's the artist, so I'd imagine so.
Yeah. I don't know if they had any other. I've only seen his normal drawing, cover arts and stuff. But
the concept art and all that stuff. Yeah.
But I'm going to assume that's his. That's one of my biggest memories is the codec calls and the faces with the green.
Yeah, I think when you play Metal Gear, you're basically there for the story and not much else.
Yeah.
But
I watched a long play after I finished playing the game, and I think I got pretty much the same experience out of it that I got.
There's some cool gameplay elements in there, which I think we'll talk about later.
We'll get to that in a bit. Yeah, we'll get to the actual game side
the main selling point of Metal Gear is just it's a good story.
Yeah.
And a game second.
I can't argue with that.
So and then of course we have the Rogues Gallery. That's all Snake has to go up against. We have the leader, Liquid Snake, voiced by Cam Clark, who looks suspiciously like Solid Snake.
That's
Cam Clark.
Complete coincidence. That's just it's just PS1 graphics. They're all the same regardless. That can't be helped. You've got the same flat face as me.
Cam Clark, famous for being the original voice of Leonardo from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Radical!
Yep. Famous in quotation marks there, I think, at that point.
Yeah, he's very prolific as a voice actor. Then there's Revolver Ocelot, Russian Cowboy, and Torturman.
Torturman?
Is that a title? Well, even the Torturman.
Is that on the CV? As I was a part-time Torturman under Liquid Snake for a few years?
He's actually the first real boss battle you go up against.
I wonder where you're going with that. First real Russian.
Cowboy.
Where he engages you in a gun battle and then gets his arm sliced off by mysterious cyborg ninja.
Who kept that name for the whole game? Been better.
Then there's Psycho Mantis, the psychic mantis. No,
one of the more distinctive characters in the game.
Yeah, voiced by Doug Stone. One of the only. Yeah, I forgot to mention in the original game, most of the actors in this game used synonyms because they were unsure if the voicing this would go foul of the SAG union rules.
I don't get the rules, how it works.
I mean, I did because I remember playing and seeing when the credits at the start of the game it shows it showed what I can't remember what the pseudonym Cam Clark used, but
James
I thought that's not who voices that guy.
They make up their own pseudonyms, I wonder.
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, great.
Because at the time I wouldn't have known that, but later on, that's all. Looking up just info on the game in general, I know that's who voices Liquid.
My
name is Big Mick Dickman.
I was going to say Big Willie. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Bet you to it.
Boo that man.
So anyway, Psycho Mantis voiced by Doug Stone. He actually used his own name because he had done...
David hates his names in there, so he didn't use
He hates the SAG union.
He got special permission. Yeah, he asked, basically.
He actually bothered to ask. He had the audacity to ask.
Can I use my name?
Union.
Go on then.
There's Vulcan. There's Vulcan Raven, Shaman, Big Boy, and
Shaman Big Boy. Is that the actor's name?
You carries around the.
What's your special skill? I'm just big.
I have a big gun.
Big lad.
He is voiced by Peter Lorre, who often shows up as Sabretooth, Marvel Sabretooth in a bunch of stuff. Also, the voice actor for Vulcan Raven is the son of the voice actor of the Armstead president, Alan Laurie, which was thought it was fun.
What did you say his name was? Peter Laurie?
Yeah, Peter Lurie.
Ah, okay. So not Laurie, the Peter Laurie, the actor.
Not Hugh Laurie.
No.
He was
Isn't Peter Laurie the guy from the 40s?
Yeah, sure.
There's a lot of guys from the 40s.
What?
It's
And
that
then-
one man who was born in the 40s.
And then there's Sniper Wolf, who's voiced by Tasha Valenza, who I found out after I looked this up. She's the voice of Poison Ivy in the Arkham games.
Oh.
Oh shit! What world?
Yeah. I was like,
Back to
that's
back
it.
featurette. Let's go.
It's all connected.
All
Yeah.
linked.
She's, of course, as the name implies, a sniper. She's not a wolf, though.
Well, she got the wolf in her.
And
Is there a parody where she's like in a fursuit as
Oh,
a wolf?
God.
She's
I-
in a
I would
sniper
not-
suit.
I would not Google that if I were you.
I'm
No,
gonna
no.
Google that right now. Oh God!
I'm not gonna be bored for the next 17 hours.
Anyways, we talked enough about.
Is that how long it takes you?
We talked enough about the characters. Let's roll into the actual gameplay. The whatever
Bang, bang,
thing it is.
shoot.
Yeah. So the first area, I want to get a little thing about the first area. It might be like the perfect introduction to like a gameplay mechanical system like ever. It lays down the stealth mechanics, the map system. You can find items across the map for like rations and stuff to pick up.
The
Shows you how to look
radar.
around corners as part of the whole stealth, the whole radar system. It's like the perfect, like condensed, like kind of a welcome to the game.
It's
Here's
definitely
your
one of the most
toolbox thing.
memorable beginnings to a game as
Yeah.
well.
Yes.
The
yes.
only
Puddle
thing
being
it
on the
do that.
floor that will be make noise in the puddle, and that attracts the guards as well. To
The
let you
only
know that
thing
there
it
are
doesn't
kind of
have-
environmental elements.
It doesn't have a gun. That's the only thing.
It's a sneaky
mean,
mission. You don't have to kill him.
I mean, the game's kind of built on stealth being its main thing and gunplay being
suppose that
a secondary
makes it-
feature. Which
Makes it so important to have a good introduction of
I think
learning all these mechanics, because
game's-
stealth games at this point wouldn't have been very common at all.
Well, I
It was
think
a-
this
it was a
game
very
is
new
at its
genre.
best when it's leaning into the stealth element, because I think it does the stealth element really well, and the stealth parts really hold up. Apart from the guards having a complete lack of peripheral vision, which is hilarious, frankly. You can breathe in their ear and they won't know that you're there. It's fantastic.
That makes sense in like outside areas because it's supposed to take place during a blizzard, but it makes less sense when you're indoors in full lit area.
One thing I hate, you know, like when you're behind them and you try to put them in the chokehold. If you fuck
I
it
didn't
up,
know you could do that.
even like when you try to like or
Oh.
like choke them out, they can still like call it in, even though like I hate that.
Yeah,
Like
you
if you
see,
fuck
things
it
The
up,
like
game
a
say that you
skill
could
issue.
chokehold people. I don't think the game
Yeah,
told me I
no.
could do that.
Snake, go behind that guy and chokehold him.
Well, the game gives you a lot of like, oh, push this to do that state, but it doesn't actually say, oh, push this
No,
to
you
like
can
chokehold
punch,
someone.
You can punch,
I knew I
kick,
could punch.
chokehold, and snap necks.
You can snap necks.
Yeah, if you keep pressing after you grab him, if you keep pressing him, you eventually just choke him up and take him.
This wasn't explained in the game. Okay, fair enough.
It does a bad job of explaining exactly that part, I must say.
Okay, that's probably explains why I had some difficulties later on in the game. Okay,
Did
Yeah.
you
fine.
get that codec call when the colonel's like, Snake, break his neck?
Yeah, because there's a lot of codec calls where you're forced to listen, but there's also a lot of optional ones.
Yeah.
It gives you a
that you
lot of
can-
like the key gameplay mechanics are explained to you, like the torture scene later on, and you get told that twice over that how to get the mechanics right, and then things like how to do basic
Basically,
CQC
the
they won't
co-
explain.
The codec, and I suppose when you call the kernel, is basically like an in-game game fax.
Hey, go
the-
here!
Because
Did
if
you
you really
know?
stuck, generally, that's usually the advice I would give anyone playing this
Yeah, I,
game
know
for
I,
the
had,
first
I had to
time.
call him at one point because I was completely lost, and I was trying to find Meryl in the part that comes up later on that
Yeah.
I'll get into when it comes up. But yes, I had to call him like once to try and get where I was going because the game is quite kind of easy to explain where you have to go. It's not really that hard to understand what's next if you're paying attention to the plot.
It's
Yeah,
a
it's-
very linear
it's- yeah,
experience. You basically the way the game is set up is like you start here, you go from A to B to C, and then maybe stay at C a while, explore the floors, then maybe backtrack a bit to B and A and go. It's just
Yeah,
go back
Pick
and
up
forth.
key cards to unlock doors they couldn't get into before. It's
Yeah,
like a
there is some-
Metroidvania.
there is some openness to it, but
Yeah.
generally speaking, you only have, you're definitely going like a very set path.
I would say it has the illusion of openness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I could agree with that.
And that you can go
Yeah.
back, but you can't really do much
Um,
when you go back.
Maybe we should talk about as well, when gameplay wise, the how it works when you alert an enemy, because that was fairly new as well.
Oh yeah, but basically, if the enemy sees you, they call over. They get into alert mode and call over
the
anyone
iconic
in the
alert
area.
noise.
Yeah.
And then,
Yep, good impression.
and then
then
they
they
basically
search.
have to fight them off or just try to run away and hide until they get bored.
The radar is obscured, so you can't actually just hide in the spot and follow the dudes around.
they have to try and set a balance between making it like a heavy penalty for getting discovered, but still giving you a way to get out of that situation as well. Because generally speaking, they want stealth to be encouraged, so you can't. They don't want to make it so you could beat the game just being alerted all the time.
Yeah.
If they haven't really got a gun for the first part, stealth is really encouraged because if you get caught, you can't really outgun your way out because you have no gun to outgun them with. So at that point, it becomes.
But at the same time, they didn't want to make it just an instant game over or anything like that either. So they made it so it's like difficult but not impossible to get out of that situation. I think that's pretty cool.
I'm not sure if it's in this game or it was introduced in later game, but in some Metal Gear Solid games, you unlock a difficulty where if you get noticed, it's automatic game over. Which is
Say that again. What's automatic?
A difficulty that causes an.
I think some of the later games have these super hard mode stuff you can do if you want.
Yeah.
But I've never really messed with that.
Arkham have one of those like levels where you have to not be caught or they kill a hostage. The game that we last played.
Yeah, I remember that part.
An odd crossover between stealth games we're playing.
The alert mode, when there's like searching for you, that gets really. They build on that in the second and third one as well. They really build on that. The AI gets really good.
Yes.
Yeah, this game has really good kind of core mechanics that I can see being worked on and built on as games go on. But as a first kind of example of a proper like cinematic stealth game goes, it's pretty damn impressive to be honest.
I mentioned earlier, but I don't think there really wasn't anything at the time that emulated.
There was,
I think a lot of stuff came up after that built upon it. But I think it just wasn't a genre you saw. So it was like they had to also like teach people how to play this game as well as show it.
So I must say that Metal Gear 2, that was released on MSX, Metal Gear Solid actually borrows heavily from that game, but that's a very old game, so it's very outdated in those ideas, so it's basically just a refinement of earlier ideas.
Yeah, this is far more cinematic in scope. This might be the most cinematic game to have come out at that point, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
I can't think of any games that had the same kind of, like, I'm watching a movie scope that this game had.
I mean, that's part of the reason why it became such a classic quite quickly.
It had the cutscenes, it had the drama, it had actual Los Angeles-based voice actors. It was something new.
It came out the same year as Ocarina of Time, and compared to that game is quite broad in scope, but in terms of like a cinematic scope, it's completely eclipsing anything else that came out even remotely close to this.
They're very refined in very different areas.
Yeah.
Half-Life feels like a game with a story, whereas this feels more like a movie with a game.
Yeah.
And also, another thing that sets this game apart is some of the meta elements that Kojima likes to play with. You mentioned the thing about trying to contact Meryl. Do you want to talk about that?
No.
Are you going to talk about it? Yes.
I'll cover my Meryl experience when we get to that in the story, but it's certainly an interesting...
No, it's now. It's now. You can talk about it now.
Wait, we're getting to that point already. Oh yeah, so there's a point where you have to try and find Meryl in the base because she's sort of off doing something, and I couldn't find her for a solid 15-20 minutes. I started to get really annoyed and just started shooting guards, not knowing that she was actually in a guard costume, and I got a game over. So in my quest to vent anger, I fucking shot Meryl.
This just really appeals to the
call
male
up
fantasy.
Campbell, I may have shot your niece. My bad. So I mean that was quite fun because it alludes to her walking kind of weird in a cutscene earlier on, and it sort of harks back to that and trying to find her being like in her guard costume. Just nice. It's sort of a fullback.
At that point in the game, you would know she was in a guard costume because you'd see it in the codec.
Well,
so I'm not sure why you would. I'm going to start shooting guards knowing Mel was disguised as a guard.
I just realised
I'm not very good at what I do, Craig.
I just realised. I think Eric was talking about the other thing.
I don't mean to say, but that was not a very smart move.
I think Eric was talking about
the Meryl thing, and I lose track.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
he
meant,
was talking about the other Meryl thing that comes
right, but you
before this.
originally are going to contact her over via codec. Oh, but
Oh.
that was a fun story anyway.
Yeah, because we were talking about the codec, and you said you were going to talk about that.
Yeah. So the thing
Very
is,
tired.
Kojima likes to play with expectations. So at one point, York has to he has to talk with Merle because she has.
Oh, I
very
know what you're
specific
getting
thing.
at, the
And
CD
then-
case.
And then Colonel Capel just says, "Look back at the CD case." And back in the day, your standard like intuition is like, well, there's no item called a CD case. Where am I supposed to look? But
That's some shitty DRM.
then you have to actually
Kind
look at
of.
the back of the actual CD case.
Yeah.
It's like what the old Sierra games used to do. They're very clever
Yeah.
like that. You get to a point where you have to put in some sort of like
Oh,
code that was
yeah.
in the game manual
Like
so
the
you couldn't
code
go
card.
any further. Yeah, exactly. They're clever like that. That was kind of a bit of
I mean, I don't think it was
a little bit
intended
DRM-y
as,
at the same
I don't think
time.
it was intended as that, but I suppose it would just work that way as well.
I had to find it online.
But wait, so you went online? You didn't because I was playing the on the PSP Go, the emulator one. You just opened the menu with the manual, and then you can find the codec there.
Yeah.
I think for the I'm
Oh,
just
the
about
PS3,
we
yeah.
I think me, Johan, and Erik all played the PS3 like the re-release of the PS Classics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's an option in the manual on
The digital
well, I
menu.
don't the digital whatever it's called in the settings. And there's
Yeah.
a little part that says, "Oh, this is the code that you need to call."
Yeah.
Yeah, I played it on the PS1.
Yeah, sure.
Can I say
I lost the case for it though. That was the issue.
besides that digital version, a classic. I think I own it. Like I own Metal Gear Solid 1 like
I
5.
wonder if they like
5,
made a
6
re-release
times.
where they forgot to include that code somewhere, and if someone's played the game and couldn't get any further from a game that they legitimately bought on some online storefront, like the good old games version, something
I
like
was
that.
thinking
would
like
have
if you're
the code
if
on
you're
it.
renting the game, because I think they tend to just
Yeah.
put
You
the
get those
disc in
shitty
like
plastic cases that you get. Yeah,
so you won't be on there.
the ultimate rental trap where
There's
you can't beat the
there's
game.
probably stories of people that like rented this game and just I couldn't
Have
get
to
past.
rent it again.
I don't know what the
damn
code
you,
is.
Blockbuster. I'm glad
So-
they went bust. Fuck them.
So anyways, yeah, in this game you basically find equipment in order to progress, and then do boss battles.
It's
Question,
a Metroidvania.
This is really early in the beginning. Did
Peak
everyone?
Metroidvania.
Well, I knew. I don't know about the rest of you. Did you find the SOCOM in the beginning? Where?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I found that.
Okay. Because I think
I'm a very thorough gamer. I look everywhere.
I didn't enjoy using it, but that's
I
kind of
think if you
there.
don't pick it up there, you will get it at the place where you get the
Yeah,
FAMAS.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
I
I
think the FAMAS
I was
Softcom was
looking.
kind
I
of
was
redundant at that point.
because I remember seeing someone. I was looking up extra info on the game that if you miss certain items, they if you didn't pick them up before, they put them in other areas, which I
Yeah.
didn't know at the time because I just picked
Yeah.
them up the first time. I found that was quite interesting way to.
Yeah, because I got a
So you don't-
silencer
don't
quite
get
late. I'm
completely
guessing I
stuck.
missed it somewhere the first time round.
The what?
Silencer for the
Oh,
Soulcom.
right,
I'm
yeah,
guessing I missed it somewhere early. Look, I got it quite late in the game. I assume because I missed it
No, it
somewhere
comes
early.
Yeah.
the middle
I think
of
it's
the game.
it's in the first hangar building, whatever it's called.
Yeah, I think so. Yes.
Where did you pick it up, Kyle?
It was late. It was like 2/3 into the game, something like that.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
so I guess there's options to re-get that as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
There are a few like optional items as well, as like the body armor. I'm not sure if everyone
Yeah.
got that.
I got
I
it.
had to use
Yeah.
that at some points to kind of
Yeah, I
get
think
that.
Also-
that's one of another Craig tip. If you're going through this game, you pick up the body armor if you're really struggling. When you can.
Also, another one is the infrared. You don't need that.
Yeah.
I use
well,
that for
it's
the-
yeah, but
I use
you
that
don't
for
need it, but it's
mines.
really helpful.
No,
Yes.
you could because we were talking about it earlier. But do you know, Carl, what you can use instead for the laser sections?
Oh,
yeah,
the
cigarette-
grids.
cigarettes.
Yeah,
The cigarettes.
cigarettes.
Really?
Yeah. You could put the smoke in your mouth. You lose health, but the smoke that comes out will show.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
little bit.
That
How's it
sounds
just to help?
painfully tedious and nowhere near as helpful
Yeah,
as
but
the
it's
infrared
it's
goggles.
it's it's a little cheat through, so you don't
Well,
have
yeah,
to.
well,
get
if you didn't pick them up, then you're up shit creek, aren't you?
Okay, so I won't do that. And then you got the cardboard boxes that you find.
There
as
must
well
be the
throughout game. The,
nastiest fucking cigarettes in the world that
Yeah.
it depletes its health so quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that at least in Metal Gear Solid 3, he has cigars as well, and that does the same
Yeah.
thing. It hurts him.
Yeah. Oh, I am not actually going to talk about those cigars because they're fun. We get those in a future episode. By the way, Carl, did you figure out the trick with the cardboard box?
You put them on and you look funny.
There's a trick?
Yeah, that's the trick.
So, have you noticed the
I didn't use
trucks? Have you noticed the trucks that are around at certain areas?
Yeah, you get items in the back of them sometimes.
Yeah, have you noticed that the boxes have written on them certain areas?
I knew that it says. I know in the actual menu it says
So-
the A means between this and this, and B means between this and this. I know
Yeah.
that each box represents a different key point of the map. I knew that much.
Yeah, so if you wear a box in one of those trucks and wait a bit, you can fast travel to those areas.
Ah, you're talking about that, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
I think that
Yeah!
I think that was
I-
something they also had to do in the MSX games. I think that's a
I
carry
just
did-
explained
from
at any point during
I-
the game.
I learned
Oh,
that.
no,
Okay,
no,
yeah,
I
no,
don't think
no,
I don't
no.
think it's. I think it's just if you just happen to be in a box, it'll
This game
just.
has great mechanics that they don't bother explaining. I think it's really good. I love it.
There's also a second use during the cave section with the wolves. At the end, if you punch out Meryl and put on a box, she will tell the wolves to piss on you. And then if you wear the box after that, they won't attack you.
You made that up.
No, it's true.
Because I've tried to get that to work before, but I didn't know you had to punch women to
There was
do it.
no wolf pissing on my body. I just
This
killed
really
all
does
those wolves.
appeal to male gamers.
I was like, fuck them kids, and just shot them all.
Oh, come on.
I'm trying to solve a nuclear weapon for fuck the dogs.
Oh, you shot the wolves.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to a fucking nuke to save
maybe
the
Smart
world.
Sniper Wolf had a point.
I'm while we're at it, I might provide some criticism towards the item system. The way you had to switch between items in order to open doors and then switch back
And
to like a gas
yeah.
mask and start, it's very annoying.
If
It's
I have a
tedious.
key card, that should just be in my pocket, and it should just work on doors
Yeah,
at
I
all
don't-
times.
I
Have
don't
to
know
go through
why-
like have to go from like a gas mask to a key card, then go back to a gas mask, and then go back to a
It
key
is-
card, and then back to a gas mask again.
But
At best, it's counterintuitive. At worst, is just flat out bad design.
Don't they say that it activates with your body's magnetic field? So maybe
Yep.
that's
Yeah.
your hands are the only thing that like is touching it. So.
I mean, but it's.
Then
it's
don't try and
still
Kojima explain to me. I'm not having it.
I don't think they would have had the technology to just know that which card you had. I don't think there's.
Yeah.
It must have been easy to implement that. I don't know why they didn't.
I don't have passive key card technology. I'm sorry.
'Cause I'm pretty
not
sure
buying that.
That's it's only in this game. I think in future games you never run into that issue.
Oh,
Well,
they-
same
they-
with body
they
armor, though.
knew
You have to
that-
have the
they
body
knew they
armor
messed up.
equipped for it to count. You can't have body armor on passive. It has to be actually equipped
Yeah.
in your inventory
Yeah,
to
yeah.
have body
I
armor.
realised
be
another
a thing.
thing.
I mean, I don't find that as annoying, but it's still.
I think he takes it off and puts it somewhere else in his pocket when
Yeah.
he's not using it.
I mean, it does change the sprite, so you can actually see if you've got it on or not as well.
yeah, it does. Equip thing. You could also equip the handkerchief while you're by the wolves, so they won't hurt you.
You get that so late in the game, though.
Ah, true.
So
Still,
I never used that. I just shot them all dead.
should be.
This is why I really wanted to see some gameplay of this
Yeah.
playthrough. It sounds really fascinating.
You're controlling this area, but
Like a trained
boss fights?
chimpanzee play a game for the first time.
yes.
You said that, not me.
Let's move on to the boss fights, which is probably
Awesome.
It's where the most interesting gameplay is.
yeah.
That's-
They do a lot of
Mm,
they experiment in the boss fights.
experiment being one of the words that I would use quite kind of aggressively, because a lot of these boss fights don't float my boat. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
Start off where we start off, shall we? Revolver Ocelot. Let's kind of go around the table and see what we all think about that one.
It's pretty simple. You just chase them around
I
and
think
shoot
it's
them.
an introduction to like using guns as well. I think is the main
There's-
purpose of that fight.
Fucking flubber ass bullets that he has.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
but
they make a big point about how he's like a really skilled gunman, so I guess that's how he can make bullets.
yeah, it's not the
go
gun
with.
though. It's he's firing bullets that do
So
things
he's
that
doing some
guns shouldn't be
John
doing.
Woo ass shit.
Try to
With a
shoot around
revolver, even.
the president and not kill him at the same time, despite him being like in the same room lined with C4. We're like, no, him just get into a bit of a bouncy bullet fight for now. I didn't enjoy that battle.
Did anyone else? Because one of the ways I try and do this fight a bit easier is I put C4 on one of the walls, and then when he runs past, you
Oh.
detonate it. He
Never tried
takes
that.
out good chunks of his health.
No,
No,
I'm trying to defend the man
just-
in the centre. Using C4 in the room seems a little bit.
Well,
dangerous.
you have to be careful. If you put it too close to the middle, it kills the president. But if you
He survives it anyway
find
at the end of the cutscene, so it doesn't really matter what you do with him.
but
Indeed,
yeah, but if you
information.
can time it right, you can like finish that fight pretty quickly.
So
Yeah, I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy that at all.
anyway, that the fight ends with Ocelot getting his hand chopped off by the ninja, the cyber ninja who you face at the lair point, which is possibly my least favorite boss battle because you have to basically fist fight him for an extended amount of time. Which
Yeah,
is-
the enemies here are massive bullet sponges. Even like a lot of the non like boss battle characters, they just refuse to go
which
down
is why
after.
I was so annoyed when I found out that the original difficulty in the Japanese version was just the easy difficulty. I should have just played it on that.
So we all played on normal now, I'm guessing, based
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
But it's
Okay.
against my better instincts.
Craig, I played on
not done
I
that.
played on the PSP Go, which is very uncomfortable.
which is hard by default.
It's hard by default. Hey, nice.
Did you in the ninja boss battle? Did you find the little PS1?
Oh, yeah, there's a little
Oh,
PS1
and
that-
the is it Psychonauts or Snatcher poster they have?
Oh yeah, that
Psychonauts.
Oh,
I think.
that's
Psychonauts.
Psychonauts.
Police are not fuck.
Please, that's the one.
You've fallen down the old Psychonauts trap again.
Oh,
You know, if you go into first,
that's going to be our
person
next episode.
mode, in Hal's laboratory. If you look at the first person mode, you can see, or even third person, you can see a small PS1 on the table.
yeah.
And in
In
Twin
Ninja,
Snakes,
the
they
next boss
changed it
battle
to a
after
GameCube.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
that-
game
Ocelot.
and Yoshi and a Mario figurine.
Yeah, if you shoot the Yoshi and Mario figure, you get like a 1-up sound.
Which I mean, we'll mention this later, but there was a remake of this on the GameCube, but we
Yeah,
we all
It
played the
has been-
original.
It has been mentioned, Craig. Now.
Okay.
Before you get there, you fight Vulcan Raven in the tank, don't you?
Oh,
Before
right,
you get
right.
to the cyber.
I just aced that on the first try without any
It's not.
issues.
Yeah, well, if you
so-
know what you're doing, you can do it quick. But it's
I-
some of the way you throw the
Yeah.
grenades are a bit awkward.
I did not enjoy that battle. I have to admit.
I hated it that when you get knocked down by it, it goes into crouch mode automatically, so you
Yeah.
have to stand up. I do hate that.
Yeah, I had a hard time trying to aim those grenades and try and get them right in the
It's
hole.
a very picky and where it wants you to.
If you're out of
be-
grenades, what do you do at that point? Is there any sort of like
You
like
can pick up
I
more.
think any of those fights where you have to use a specific item, it will replenish it somewhere if you
Oh,
run
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
They're
any
usually
battle that
pretty-
relies on one mechanic's a bad idea because if you just don't get it, then you're kind of fucked at that point. Yeah, that took me a
Well,
long
they
time to
thought
sort
about
out.
that eventuality at least.
Yeah, they made you work for your win at least in that situation. I didn't enjoy that one, but it wasn't terrible, but it was like okay.
It could have been better.
Yeah, and then the cyber fight after that, which I did like.
I didn't enjoy that one either.
I-
I'm 3 for 0 right now in terms of enjoyable fights that I
Wait,
liked.
which one did you say?
The
The
Cyber
Ninja Cyborg.
Oh, Ninja. Oh, yeah.
And then
I mean,
there's
it's difficult, but it's.
Yeah.
I didn't find it that tedious.
Then Psycho Mantis.
we need to talk about Psychomantis.
That's the most interesting fight.
It's the most interesting build up to a fight, I'll
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
The whole kind of reason to your memory card and such, games that you've played, which I quite like.
Yeah,
He does the
but
whole kind of move the controller with his mind with the vibrations of the dual shock, and it's like, okay, yeah.
This is,
alright,
I think
that's-
this whole section sort of epitomizes the way Kojima looks at gaming and tries to use every tool at his disposal. Where he thought,
Yeah.
okay, I want to incorporate like the memory card into the story of this game somehow. Like he can read your mind.
He's trying to use
and
the
the vi- and
medium
use-
in a way that you couldn't do with any other
Yeah.
medium, like a movie.
Yeah.
You
I'm
couldn't
going
do
to
that
use
sort
the
of thing
vibration
otherwise.
as like a plot point in this game that he can use his mind tricks or something. That's what that's. No,
Eric, do you wanna
it's just, you
explain a
don't
bit
see
better?
that with other developers.
Yeah. Then you get the whole move into the second controller port to actually, so he can't read your movements, which I thought was quite a clever mechanic as well.
Yeah.
Then the actual battle itself kicks in, and
Well, yeah, it's hard.
I did
yeah.
not.
And
Borderline
also,
It's
and
bullet
also you have
hell.
to,
It's just
thing going on.
working out how to use the guns properly, which is they're not the best to use
Can
in
I
this
just
game.
say, I hate the gunplay in this game.
it's not great.
I think it's
Like, I hate
I think it's
all of
because
it.
it's not really intended to be used much, especially
Yeah,
at least in the
but-
sneaking
But
parts.
every boss battle demands you use guns, though. So I would argue that's complete
not
nonsense.
every boss battle.
It's very similar to Tank
The
Control
vast
from Resident
majority
Evil.
of them. But yeah, because I said before how the game's sort of the best part of the games are when it's actually homing into its stealth kind of leanings. Yeah. This is the exact reason why, because I think the gunplay, it makes me want to commit actual bodily harm.
Okay, without spoiling too much, I think that's one of the main improvements in the second game is they made the guns a lot better to use.
Yes, a lot better.
So if you ever want to go further into the series, I think you'll appreciate that upgrade.
But there are certain kind of ambush points in this game. Even when you first get Maryland, you get all the folks run into the room at the same time and start trying to take you all on. It's just like, I did not enjoy having to use weapons at any point. I found myself throwing grenades and just hoping for the best at some points just to kind of get them to die. Because
that's a viable option.
There's a part later on where we're in an elevator and I started just throwing grenades just to kind of get rid of it.
Someone's going to die in this elevator. I'm just hoping it's not me.
Yeah, I'll commit sacrifices. I don't care. But yeah, we'll get to that point later on. But yeah, the battle with
Mantis,
Mantis is not great.
It doesn't have the same impact when playing an emulated version that, like, the whole moving controller ports when you're like
you have to go into the PlayStation home menu.
Yes. Assign
controller. Put your PSP Go on the ground, Johan.
I see you wasting money.
Does it not have vibration? Does it not have that?
No, it doesn't have vibration.
Oh, it doesn't. Does it? Even when I was playing it on the PS1, it had vibrations, so it was okay.
So anyway, after you beat Psychomantis, after shooting him a bunch and not having Meryl shoot herself, you go for the wolves. Then there's the...
I mercifully slaughtered all of them.
Yeah,
several times over.
And you do it again.
Oh yeah, and then there's a little minefield section. I taught you later, you never really realized you could just crawl through the claymores and you can pick them up.
Which then it sort of implies that you never use claymores in the game, full stop.
I would never crawl up to a claymore and touch it by default in real life, so why do I do it in a game? It seems counterintuitive to me. If the game doesn't say you can go behind claymores and pick them up,
there must be an optional codec that mentions it, like a way to deal with them.
I think you could find like loose claymores in like a box somewhere, and if you call Natasha about it, she tells you, "Hey,
Mustasha. Questions.
Yeah, she can tell you all about claymores.
Do you ever want to learn about claymores?
So then we get to the sniper wolf,
which is the quickest boss fight in the game.
Before we get to that point first,
you have to backtrack.
Let me just get to a point of contention with me that I want to talk about in quite a bit of detail about this. So, I'm not a fan of backtracking in games as a general rule of thumb. But if they somehow change the environment to make it a little bit more fun or different to go through, fair enough. What I like even less is going back to a certain spot and then going back to where I just left the exact same way. And this game does that on at least, I think, 3 different occasions.
Yeah,
they
changed a couple of things in that.
One thing is quite jarring too, even the story-wise, is that Snake seems to grow quite fond of Meryl, almost on a dime. He goes from being I don't give a shit about anything to I am going to die if she dies very, very quickly. And it's a bit of a U-turn that I found quite jarring.
That's actually a plot point from Metal Gear 2 that is sort of...
Oh, fuck off.
Sort of close.
Okay, I don't know about this either, so I'm curious.
So in Metal Gear 2 you
play
meet...
Metal Gear Solid, not there's anything on this game, fuck off.
So in Metal Gear 2 you meet like a contact during mission that Sosek gets friendly with, and she dies promptly afterwards. So he has sort of like...
that man's cursed, isn't he?
He has like a complex about losing people he just got to know. So that's
this went from being stonewalled to being like, no, not Meryl, my waifu, no.
And also, she's the niece of his good friend, the Colonel Campbell.
Campbell,
I didn't really.
I think it's fallen out at that point. To be fair, he was kind of the whole "what aren't you telling me?" thing. I didn't really
give much thought to the change, other than I thought just over the course of the mission, you just liked her more, I guess. I didn't really think too deeply into it like you have.
They hadn't really done much up to that point together, apart from the whole Psycho Mantis thing. They spent like maybe 10 minutes in total together.
They murdered a bunch of people together when they broke out of prison.
Yeah,
that changes a guy.
So you backtrack and backtrack.
Can I say one thing about? I just realized beforehand, backtracking to that main the tank hangar. Did you realize that when you got out in the beginning, there's 2 tanks, and then when you go out and you have the tank battle, the tank is gone from the tank hangar.
That's where it came from.
Yeah, no,
I
but
never noticed that.
yeah.
That's some nice storytelling. I didn't notice.
Yeah.
You should have
Sorry,
went, the tank's missing.
Well, I think there might. I'm saying there might be a codec where. So it's, there wasn't a tank.
There's a
in here.
lot of there might be a codec where it explains this.
Well,
going
when I
on,
was
I've
when I was
noticed.
playing through this game, because I played through it before, I was trying to make a point to use the codec more because I know there's a lot of
Yeah.
optional
You would
points
double
that
your
you couldn't use
downtime
before.
codecing every 10 minutes trying to get like vital plot
This
points
is
that you might
how
miss.
much dialogue they must have recorded to make this game just to fill it out that
And I
most people
skipped
wouldn't
a
listen
good
to.
portion of it.
But anyway, yeah, you go back.
Yeah, you backtrack by walking all the way back to the armory in the first building, or using the cardboard truck. Cardboard
Oh,
truck
fuck.
thing.
That's what it's there for.
Which they
I'll be
never
honest.
explained.
I'll be honest. I've played this game at least 10 times. I've never done that. I've never used the truck.
I think the only reason
Did you
you
know
might
you could
use
do
it
that?
I knew about it.
like if you got to
10 years ago.
the third truck and you've not picked up the body armor at that point, it's useful to quickly
Yeah.
get to wherever it is. But other than that, I don't think it's really that useful.
Also, I
Actually
must
infuriating.
must add one thing from the remake they did on the GameCube, Twin Snakes. They actually had an additional sniper rifle at like the halfway point,
Yeah.
like a triangular
So
rifle.
Yeah, I
they
know.
should.
Yeah, I don't
So
know.
they should.
I don't know because I haven't played the Trinity one. I know that some of the changes they made are based around cutting out a lot of the backtracking because I think that was,
Yeah.
as Cow's pointing out, one of the main frustrations.
But they did add
Yeah.
cutscenes and bullet time cutscenes. Yes.
There's not a lot of game here as it is. Having most of the game be backtracking just adds insult to injury. So yeah, that didn't go down too well for me.
The sniper thing I get is kind of unnecessary, but there's other parts later in the game where I can see why they had it because there's a lot of like story exposition that goes between the backtracking.
So anyway,
So
and then
the
you
battle
get back.
itself, which I didn't enjoy.
I played on the
bad.
PSP Go, and I could probably finish it under a minute.
Without diazepam, there's he cannot hold a sniper rifle straight to save himself, and eventually after 8 or 9 hits of a sniper rifle, which he sustains quite well for being hit by a sniper rifle repeatedly, she goes down.
Especially when Snake gets hit as well, he flies across the room with the recoil as well.
Yeah, you get yeeted back a good 4 or 5 feet.
It gets a bit
but then he
easier
just
if you
brushes
use-
off. It's like, oh, it's okay.
It gets a bit easier if you also use the thermal to find her.
Oh, I never
That's
thought about that.
I just
follow
like,
her around.
yeah, that's
Once
fine.
you've got her in your sight, it's hard to lose
Well,
her.
actually,
Just-
I
just
was-
always
There's quite a narrow field of view for that, so it's not too difficult to find
No,
them.
in the first, but I tried to time it. If I wasn't playing on the PSP Go, I could have done it under a minute.
Okay, so
Brag, okay.
you defeat Sniper Wolf. You try to proceed, and then Sniper Wolf kidnaps you because she's alive. She's popping pills.
She's the most like
She had
durable
rations.
member of Foxhound. She takes 10 sniper rifle bullets to her face and just bounces it off.
Well, I mean,
Still perky as always.
spoiler: Vulcan Raven took a fucking explosion to the face.
Okay, well, when
he
you
was
put
in
it
the
that way.
tank.
He dies though at the end, so it's fine.
So yeah, you get kidnapped at this point and strapped to a big torture table.
A nice, lovely bed.
Which I don't know why they've explained why this nuclear weapons facility has a torture
I
room.
was wondering that. Like, why is
I
this
don't know
here?
if it's just or if Ocelot brought it along because he's into torture or like improvised
like,
it.
You got Wish.com. Yeah, you get one quick.
One torture table, please.
Dr. Heilemerk is into some kinky shit. It's...
Just like his Japanese animes.
So anyway, what proceeds is a huge info dump, so to speak, and then you have to button mash your way through a torture.
Which has no importance to how the game ends at any point.
Ocelot talks about like how bad Russia is and shit as well.
Wait,
the button mashing I found quite easy. Did you guys find that quite challenging? The button mashing. Apparently, it was made easier in the later versions
before we
of the
go
game.
before we go into this, you said exposition. Has Liquid said the most important part by now?
What's the most important part by now?
That his model is exactly the same as Snake's because of a reason.
He'll lose very heavily that there's some sort of connection there.
That's it.
Without understating it.
Well, they meant. Actually, no. I think they mentioned in one of the those mission brief, optional mission briefings that you look similar. as well.
Yeah.
No, but does he point out why by that point already?
No, I think
No.
he talks more explicitly about it at the end.
I think that's saved until the end.
I think when he's in the chair and you see the lights, I think he starts kind of dropping subtle hints that there's a bigger connection to Solid Snake than he's letting
Maybe
on.
because he keeps calling him brother. That probably is kind of a big
He's
thing.
a big
Not
Hogan
that.
fan.
I just thought he was Hogan.
I love Solid Snake, brother.
Hey, brother. For this torture sequence, basically if you fail the torture sequence, you just get booted to the main menu.
There are no continues, my friend.
Or if you submit, then everything's fine up to a certain point that
So
we'll
anyway,
discuss
yeah,
later on.
I am legendarily bad at button mashing, so I had to cheat my way through this one.
No, you
But-
can't
but-
use a
but he
turbo
says that you can't
controller.
use
He
turbo
knows.
controller.
No, but
Does
what
he
I
actually
can,
know if you use?
I don't know.
turbo
I've never tried it, to be honest.
I think it picks up if the inputs are way faster than the humans can do.
Or if it's like the almost
Well,
exact
you know
same
what,
like, gap
Erik,
between
I'm just
press
built
every
different.
single time.
So what I did was that I got a pen and took it like the back end where you can the clicky thing and just rubbed that across the button and it's like
Jesus
easy
Christ.
peasy.
This is
This
like
is
Mario
some
Party
track
minigame
and
technique.
field fucking tactics. If anyone remember that on the PlayStation?
Daley Thompson. Yes.
Yeah. He's using like a really defective controller, so he runs the 100 meters in about 6 seconds.
Just spin this kind of really bad D-pad that's not attached. Just kind of waggle it until it gets all the inputs in. No, I didn't find it that hard to be honest. I'm a gamer. You know.
How many times did you have to do the...
Did you go through the whole thing then?
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, okay. You mashed that button, all right.
I had to do it 3
I had
times.
full health at the end. Yeah.
3 times. You didn't escape on the second.
No,
No.
because when he get...
Wait, you
When...
can do it more. I did it twice. There's 3 of them.
Yes,
Hey,
because
Oh,
if
no,
you-
so he
if
did
you-
escape then.
I didn't escape...
Well, when the guard got diarrhea ex machina, I just sort
Yeah.
of managed to escape there.
Yeah, but if you don't do that, there's another...
Yeah,
And
I
then
did-
there's well,
How-
we'll talk about it.
yeah, Hal shows up with the ketchup. I remember you lie down on the floor, you break the ketchup bottle, it bleeds out, but then...
I didn't do that. I
That's
hid
my
under the bed.
that's my favorite. That's my favorite item in the game because if you look
Yeah.
at the description, it says Italian-based
And then-
condiment.
And then the guard...
Mamma mia.
The guard looks at you and he says like, "Oh God!" And he's like, he opens the door, and then I stood up, but didn't realize he can run out and lock the door again.
Oh yeah, you gotta
Oh,
be
you
careful about
idiot.
that. He's not.
I
He's
just
not. He's
hid
not
under the
that
bed Until he
stupid.
came in. He couldn't see me under the bed. Apparently, he just came
I
in. Where's he
did,
gone?
I
He's
did-
vanished.
Oh, yeah,
I
but-
did the bed trick because that's.
But
that's,
if
that's
you do
easy
it,
to
if you do it while you sees you, then he just says like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Play with that little
The
ketchup
Otacon
bottle.
brings you ketchup of all
Yeah,
things.
so-
Like,
I'd
did I
had
mention
to
that I really don't like Otacon? I wish that he'd die, but he didn't.
So,
and I was
so
sad.
then,
Well,
then I
we'll
had to
get
do.
into that.
I had to do it a
My-
third time, and then after you finish it a third time, the ninja shows up and breaks you out.
Ah, I forgot about that.
I didn't know that was even the thing.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't really know later. So I saw someone playing the game do that because at that point when you try and do the button mashing, it's like really like you have to really mash to get through it. So at that
That's when
point,
you
like,
find
okay,
out-
I'm just going to escape instead. It's easier.
But then you missed the whole thing about Otacon being a massive sniper wolf simp.
She
And at
likes
that point-
dogs. She must be a good person.
At that point, I started thinking, God, I really hate this man.
Hey, he'll grow on you.
Like, I want to die just so he gets nuked in the process. I can live with that sacrifice. That's fine. I'll deal with that.
Anyway, you escape from prison,
And then
And
you
the-
go to the tower again for the 3rd time now.
and then you have
You're
activated
trying to get to the
impossible
second
alarm.
tower.
Oh.
Anyway,
Yeah, then there's a sequence where you have to run upstairs while you constantly get
Now-
attacked.
I have strong opinions about this one. Now, I don't know. I had to just throw stun grenades and just run
Oh,
for my
yeah,
life.
yeah,
I did
yeah,
that
I
as well.
think that's
I did that as
generally
well.
the best
Yeah.
method.
It's
Yes.
really
Um,
not pleasant. It's really counterintuitive. It's a bit cowardly, to be honest, but there's no other way of doing it that makes sense.
I
Apparently,
think
there
that,
is a
I don't know if
speedrunner.
I don't know if that's the intended way, but it's the way I use it. It seems to work the
There's a
best.
You can't
speedrunner.
fight them. There's too many of them.
Speedrun
No, no,
strat,
don't fight them.
apparently. If you, there was a speedrunner that found it like a couple of years ago. That door that's frozen, apparently you can trick through it, and then you get out the other side.
That's not in the spirit
Just
of
like
the game,
Kojima
Johan.
intended. Yeah.
Is there
But
a
you
code
can.
that tells you how to do this trick?
You
can
do
glitch
a
through the
long
wall.
The
backwards jump
snake,
through the
you
wall,
got the
and then you
sequence
get through.
break.
You do an LBJ through the wall and you get there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yahoo!
You get there, you
Snake,
But-
you have
but-
to use a half button press.
so you get to the top of the tower. You meet the helicopter. Hello.
Meat.
Yeah, a little top Die Hard homage. I think.
Yeah, you had to use the rope to climb down, which it's
Now,
annoying.
I have words about this as well.
It's shit.
I
Yeah.
I don't know how it works. I kept going to the left and couldn't seem to go any further right. It wouldn't let me go to the other side of the wall. I just got like pounded by
Yeah, but
gunshots
I'm-
and steam relentlessly. It was
I don't know, because I
brutal.
was only like half paying attention to the codec of this, and I was like, and then he put me in the. Oh wait, how do I do this again? So I just sort of
No, I listened
fumbled
to
my
the
way
entire
down.
thing. It still doesn't work very well. It was really not pleasant. I think I died twice trying to get down that.
Okay,
steep.
well I
It
didn't
just-
die, but I just got hit by a lot of things.
Yeah, I
it was-
really didn't like that at all. That was bad.
It's odd.
Then you get to the bottom, then you get cheap shotted by some random enemies off screen that you can't see.
Oh yeah, those
But then you use a
assholes.
sniper rifle and kill them.
If you know
Well,
that
I
they're
use-
there,
I
with
use
benefit of
the
hindsight,
Nikita.
yes.
Yeah, just Nikita missile them. to
I
death.
didn't think I sniped them, but yeah, that's
Well,
I don't,
both-
this game does a
both
lot of
work.
of off-screen cheapness I don't like. Same with like turrets being behind the cameras that you can't see and stuff like that. There's a lot of that goes on.
Yeah,
That's a
I think
little bit annoying.
that becomes a much bigger thing towards the end of the game, where it just gives you obstacles that you wouldn't know unless you've played it before.
Yeah, and, if you've got a top-down game, how putting things that you can't see in your way that can see you, that's just bad design as far as I'm concerned. I don't like it.
You should have used your binoculars.
Oh, fuck you.
Anyway, you get to the second tower, you climb that to fight the helicopter.
Now, this tower with the turret, and then the 2 turrets, and then the 3 turrets, and the 4 turrets.
I like
That's
that
how
design.
security works,
Luckily, I
Kyle.
had chaff grenades left, or I would have been
Yeah.
fucked at that point.
You
I
can
think they give you
destroy them.
chaff grenades quite, so I think they expect
Wow.
you to.
You can destroy them with the Stinger missiles as well if you had.
But, yeah, but don't they come
Yes.
back?
You need those missiles for this part of the game, though, for the next
Yeah.
battle that comes
You'll
up.
get new ones.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
thought, don't the cameras respawn somehow?
They,
Wait, on the way down, they might have respawned. I don't know.
Yeah.
So someone's like refitting them after you finish your boss battle.
Engineer from TF2 turns up and starts streaking them all together. Yeah, not into that. And then you
you-
get to the Hind battle.
yeah. How do you like that?
It was my favorite battle, I think, in the game.
Ah. Yeah, it's fairly interesting.
I think it's one of the more balanced fights
Yeah.
as well. It doesn't feel inherently unfair, but it's still quite
Balance
challenging.
is the right word to use. It's something that, there's a bit of challenge involved, but it's got a bit of, you can use the environment to sort of block off shots
It also
from
it gives you,
the Hind.
it gives
and
you
then-
the right tools for the job as well.
Yeah,
Here-
it's very easy to understand what you have to do. There's no kind
Yeah.
of like hidden mechanic to it. It's relatively straightforward what you've got to do, and it's still quite difficult at points, but it's fun in a nice kind of way.
So here's a fun little fact about this fight. If you call Colonel Campbell, he tells you to listen to where the chopper is in order to
Oh,
anticipate it. But if you have a mono TV, Snake will say, "But I have a mono TV," and it's like, "Oh well,
I
fuck
have
that."
I have a mono TV.
How would he know you've got mono TV?
It's because if you have the sound set to mono instead of stereo in the options.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
I hadn't thought of that.
Kojima likes all that shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's quite clever. I'll give him that.
that
That's
was
quite
a
impressive.
Kojima moment.
I just put the dress followed the red dot on my
Yeah,
singer.
I think the radar is usually pretty good at showing where
Yeah,
it
you
is.
can
You
just
can see it
Yeah.
through the walls, so it's quite easy to just follow him around till he's in a spot you can see him and then
But
fire. and then
isn't
take
it? Because
cover.
if you listen, you can actually tell like the audio coming
Yeah,
from the
yeah,
left.
you can.
So
Yeah.
Anyways,
That was
you
fun though.
Anyway,
defeat
and then
the
yeah.
helicopter.
I would
you-
say that goes on for a little bit too long, that battle. Maybe maybe 2 or 3 shots more than it should do, I think. That's my only minor gripe with that battle. Like, most battles are a little bit too long in this game, actually.
Yeah.
That one could have been perfect. It would have been like 2 or 3 missile shots less, but maybe that's just me.
we should have played on easy.
I know I should. Does that nerf a lot of the sponginess they all have?
I assume
I've
so,
never, I've not
yes.
tried it, so I don't know.
And then you
Oh,
get
yeah.
to the
I'm assuming so.
sniper wolf fighting.
No,
Oh,
no,
well,
wait,
fir-
wait, no,
Well-
not yet. There's
Oh,
shit,
the
yeah, sorry.
elevator.
Sorry, the elevator.
Well, first, Otacon has to ask you, like, can love bloom even on the battlefield?
I hate you.
What are you
The
talking
guy
about?
wanted to throw him down the elevator shaft at that
so-
point. I
so-
was really fucked off with him.
I don't know what's worse, that line or the way Snake takes it completely seriously, as if, oh yeah, I do actually.
Yeah, the fact that it become this sort of like bromance and suddenly Bruce, Otacon and Snake
Instead
out
of saying,
fucking
what the
nowhere.
fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I can't stand him. He makes me want to. Oh, I don't want to.
I don't
don't
know, 'cause
think about it
I
anymore.
genuinely like a lot of the dialogue in this game, but they have like weird moments like that pop up in the series.
It's a terrible day to have ears, let me tell you.
Anyways, you
yeah.
get on the elevator. The build up to this, like Otacon goes on like entire. I used to have like 5 stealth camos, and the 4 of them are gone. And I noticed
It's
that
like
the weight
it's like a
limit on the
Columbo
elevator.
episode.
I don't think his wit limit keeps going off. I'm not entirely sure why.
Right. Oh wait,
Well,
shit, there's
Otacon,
people
maybe
in
you're
the
just
elevator.
really fat.
Yeah, this battle in the elevator, this might have been my most frustrating point in the game.
Before you talk about that, gotta say the codec of that's burnt into my memory when he like
That
yells,
is just
It's like live
leaning in.
Otacon reaction.
Yeah, he tried to eat the camera at that
it's
point.
like, they're
It's
in
like,
there with
yeah,
you.
They're in the walls.
Uh,
The Viet
Right.
Cong are around you.
So anyways, I should mention, the way I play this game, I try to do it as non-lethally as possible. So I
Oh.
tried to do this battle as
How do you like
non-lethal way.
non-lethally kill someone?
That's
You
a
can't.
fool's errand
That's the thing, you
immediately.
can't. I spent like 5 minutes trying
That's
to
the
unit
trick,
toss these
you
people.
don't.
Unit
By
toss
the
these
way,
people.
this gets a lot easier if you put on the thermal goggles.
Yeah, I assume so, yeah.
I knew where they were. The location
Yeah, but
wasn't the
it's,
issue.
it's the effect that it's like the invisibility cloak. It's true,
I
where
just
you,
put- I
you
just
can
put-
see, you can see, you can see where the distortion is.
Normal.
Okay, so you said you threw grenades. I just put down
I
claymores.
had to. That was my only option. I tried using it with the FAMAS. They took a whole clip and just kept on going, and I couldn't do that with 4 of them shooting at me at the same time. So I would just throw a frag grenade into a corner of the elevator, then run to the other side, or take minimum
that's-
splash damage and try and kill them all at the same time.
That's the one thing I would say with the game is they actually, while there's usually just a preferred option, is the game's quite open in the solutions you can use.
Oh yeah.
For like that situation in the elevator, you can shoot them, but you could also use grenades, and both basically just work as well as each other.
You could
Like,
just stun them, put C4 where they lay, and then
Throwing grenades in an elevator shaft is a bad idea from a thematical point of view, but that's neither here nor there.
But
yeah,
if
that's
it
the option that I
works,
had.
it's only crazy if it doesn't work.
It took me 2 attempts of reloading because I died during splash damage for the first 2 attempts.
Okay,
The
maybe
first
it is crazy then.
So at that point, I had like 0 rations left at that point. I used them all to try and
Oh.
survive the onslaught I brought on myself. So
That's,
yeah.
I thought it was pronounced ratio.
Oh my god.
Nah,
That's what I thought as a kid.
L plus
Ratio
ratio
N.
plus ration plus
you have no frag grenades left.
frag grenadeless behaviour.
So then you get on to the Sniper Wolf battle at that point.
Part two.
I actually kind of like the introduction for this, where they suddenly see like the sniper crosshairs on Snake, and then
Yeah.
shot goes off. I kinda like
POV.
I like it. It's the exact same battle all over again.
that.
Well,
There's actually
that's one way to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
Wait.
So did you actually use the sniper rifle to fight her?
Like Sniper Wolf. Oddly enough, yes, I did.
So if you just hide behind a rock and use the Nikita missiles, you can just blow her away while never getting hurt.
It's been a recurring theme. You just use them to get through any hard mode in the game. The Kita Ex Machina happens.
I really
you just
want
call
to
it up
see
and
this
it just...
gameplay of this playthrough.
I use that for the next boss battle. I didn't use it for the Sniper Wolf fight.
We'll talk about that, but yeah, there's.
So anyways,
Yeah,
you
it's-
fight.
It's one of the more well-known sort of like if you want to cheese that fight, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I didn't know that you could do that.
And then you kill her, and you get one of the best speeches in the game. Or
Just
cutscenes.
Otacon's little...
No, the whole
Okay.
thing. Like I was born on the battlefield rage.
It's not, no, my waifu.
I've actually. I don't know if I can memorize anymore, but I used to know the whole fucking thing when she talks.
That's very sad.
She
I
has some
always
pretty
always
sad
found it
background.
like weird with where Otacon seems to have this relationship with someone who doesn't even know who he is.
That's that.
I like how
that-
all the enemies
and-
have like a 5-minute monologue death
yeah,
rattle
yeah,
before
yeah.
they
That's
pass away.
that's a
They,
Metal Gear
it's-
standard. Yes.
I think that's because that at the time most enemies in games were just enemies. They didn't really have much personality beyond that. It was quite a novel thing for them to do in this game. I quite
Yeah.
like.
They only give you backstory when they're on their deathbeds, which I found kind of...
Oh, you're
Weird.
gonna love Rising.
So
But also
yeah.
because it's a good game.
Can I say in that section? Did you know that when you come out of the tower, if you go to the right,
Yeah.
you can
Yes.
actually you can see the parachute. Yeah.
Yeah, Liquid's parachute, yeah, because he was in the
I
chest.
saw that during my long play viewing that I did after
Yeah.
I played the game.
Yeah.
The little
A
Easter
little
egg.
bonus.
Yeah, that was quite a nice little touch.
And then a codec talk and it was like, maybe he's alive and he can't have survived.
No, he's badass.
He's a parachute there. No, that's impossible.
He's
that's
badass like his
work,
brother.
Snake.
I mean, what? Anyway.
So, at this point, you're told to switch discs in order to get to disc 2, which is frankly a lot shorter than disc 1. So it doesn't take too long to play through.
I mean, it was all
I got to disc
all
2 and I
that full
thought-
motion video taking up the space.
I did think I got to that point. That they're only halfway through the game. Fuck me. Thankfully, it wasn't like that, because this game could run on a little bit too long if it wanted to, and I'd argue that it does at certain points, but we'll get to that in a bit.
It's at this point we sort of start to find out more about Dr. Naomi Hunter, as seeds are being thrown sowed about her true allegiance and whether or not she's maybe a spy or not.
Master Miller's trying to start shit.
There's a lot of I can't trust this person and that person. It's kind of, I can't trust the colonel. Oh, I can't trust Meryl. Oh, I can't trust this person or that person. I can't trust anyone.
At least I can trust you,
Snake's
Vulcan,
in
It's almost like
spot.
spies are inherently untrustworthy, which is weird. Who'd have thunk it?
Then you meet Vulcan Raven, who you have a fight with.
I enjoyed this one.
This is fun.
I think this is probably the best boss battle in the game.
Yeah, because you basically have to
it gives you the most options to.
It's a big old sandbox to play with.
Because this one actually uses the sneaking mechanic to full use, because you have to keep away from his eyesight in order to put down ambushes on him.
Yeah, it involves the least amount of gunplay, which I think is always a benefit.
Also, and then you knock down the boxes and you actually close off different routes as well.
Yeah.
And you feel more kind of pent in that way. No, I like that
I
one quite a
use
lot.
the same strategy of just put all the claymores down randomly and then just
just
wait in the corner and then it keeps.
You
see him keeps stomping around and keeps getting blown up. Is really annoyed about it.
Yeah.
So why does this keep happening?
I wanted to say first before that boss battle, you're going down the elevator shaft and you get ambushed by yet more enemies before you get to that point.
I forgot about that.
Fuck the game for that, by the way.
Yeah, that's.
Does anyone?
I tried shooting the ravens, thinking that they were hostile to me.
Oh, you jerk!
I played Resident Evil beforehand, so I think birds are hostile. So I started shooting at them.
Fecking birds again.
Was that from the remake, or did anyone do a codec call with you when you did that?
I don't recall.
Because I think in the remake, at least, if you shoot the ravens, enough of them, I think Mei Ling or someone calls like, "Why are you shooting those birds?"
You get called if you do that with the rats in the sniper wolf fight. If you shoot them, they're like, "Why are you shooting the rats? That's really bad, Snake."
Yeah. These kind of lifts, by the way, do these exist? Because I've only seen them in video games and anime.
Yeah, I remember this lift from
I've not been to many nuclear deterrence facilities.
I mean, like they're always like in big hangars.
You haven't lived,
like these kind of like on a slope, big flat open lift.
I assume they must be based on something.
Yeah, if they're showing up in multiple games, then it must be.
I've seen them in Metal
Gear.
I've seen them
real reference.
Right.
I think I've seen them in Neon Genesis. I've seen them in Akira. I've seen them in Half-Life.
You're just making
they're in
stuff
Shadow
up.
Complex.
Oh,
they're in Time Splitters Future Perfect.
Oh, they are. You do the basketball thing off it, don't you, in the mini game?
Anyway, but I always like these kind. But do they exist? I've never seen them in real life.
You haven't lived.
Scandalous.
Anyway, you go down you kill Vulcan.
Yeah, Vulcan Raven, as a party gift, reveals that the DARPA chief you met earlier, it wasn't actually DARPA chief, but the 6th Foxhound member, Decoy Octopus.
Which was mentioned at the start of the game, but then doesn't really get mentioned much after.
Yeah, you never met.
So, it makes sense why you see Darp Chief decaying in your jail cell, and also see him at the start of the game after decomposing as well.
After replaying this game and then knowing that ahead of time, there's actually quite a lot of hints to that revelation if you know what to look for. I think
because DARPA Chief gets very desperate when questioning Snake about what he knows.
Yeah.
In a way that's
and then the fact that he says that they found out my code through mind control, and then the arms tech's like, no, that can't be right because you should have the mind shield and whatever the fuck it was called.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
So it is at this point you come face to face with actual Metal Gear itself.
The Rex reveal is pretty cool. It's really imposing. I really like that. You get a real sense of the scale as to how he is compared to what you're like and how much damage it would cause.
it's so big that every time you climb up a level, it has to load in a different area.
Between 3 different codec calls.
That's weird
yeah.
though. Like when you climb the on top of it and then down, that's still on the same level. So I don't know why they have that climb.
Oh, yeah, they could have squeezed another loading screen. You're right. That'd been fun.
A half a loading screen. So during this whole part, Solid Snake tries to get Otacon to get some information about how to disable the Metal Gear, because apparently the Metal Gear is about to get ready to fire a nuke. So Otacon eventually reveals, after some other exposition, that the key card that Snakes has is temperature activated. So hey, guess what? More backtracking.
No, wait. First, don't you have to get it from the rats and
Oh,
the
yeah.
sugar
Oh, yeah,
first,
forgot,
and then go back up.
Because
So
Snake's
more
sort of like-
backtracking.
So Snake holds up the keycard, like, oh, I have to use this, and the roller or not just shoots it out of his hand.
You get like a sample dish of the backtracking that's soon to come, and then you
the,
get which
the
I think might be the
backtracking
most
before
tedious
you can
part
do
of
the
game.
main
Yeah,
backtracking.
I gotta say, I hate this backtracking, but as a kid, I really loved the whole, like, oh, you need to go where it's cold, you need to go where it's warm, you need to go where it's...
Standing in a room for a minute is not a nice mechanic.
Mm.
But yeah, you have to go back.
The one
Go
thing
back
I'll
to
say
the-
about this is, at least when you do go back and forth, the game uses that as a way to just put in some codec calls
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
move the button.
this...
Great,
So
never mind.
I didn't mind it that much because I knew I
Yeah, I
was getting the
complained.
story at least.
I love the codec calls. Never mind.
That,
Yeah,
yeah,
you go back to the place where you fought Rex, and then you stand there for not Rex, where you fight Vulcan Raven. Then you stand
Can
there
I-
for a minute.
Yeah.
and
Can
then
I
a
say,
blast furnace, and yeah.
did you, did you notice that your rations freeze, and also did you get cold?
Yes!
I didn't.
Because you get-
I know about it. It didn't happen on my playthrough.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can get cold, and then you sneeze, and does that alert enemies? I don't remember. Or you
Ah,
can
I
take
think
the
it does.
messages.
They'll hear it. Like,
Yeah,
It's a fun mechanic.
but then you
it's
can take
similar
the,
to that knock thing you can do as well.
yeah, but then you can
Having
take the
to-
medicine, and then yeah.
Having to go to the frozen part, then go back up to where you were, and then go back through the frozen part to the molten steel part,
Yeah.
then
The
go back through
Terminator
there
2 room.
again. I said what my notes says. Very T2 vibes I got from this. So
Yeah.
there's no safety rail on any of the liquid steel places. It's just like, all open to the elements.
This is
so-
universal. People's like, oh, this is the Terminator room.
But that's a good like 15, 20 minutes of just
Yeah.
going back and forward with nothing really changing either time. So I
They
fucking
add-
despise
they-
that.
They add guards to the Vulcan Raven section, but that's it.
Yeah.
Really.
There's like 3 of them and they're easy to avoid.
Yeah, they just run past them.
Yeah,
so,
I hate it.
during this part, we finally learned that Dr. Naomi Hunter isn't actually Dr. Naomi Hunter at all. That she died sometime before, way before, and that she has been contacting someone on Shadow Moses Island, so she is detained. But then she contacts you and talks about her past, about she being the foster sister of a Grey Fox, aka the Cyborg Ninja, and how she plotted to kill off Solid Snake as part of this mission with an injection of what? Is this a reveal of Fox Die, or was that revealed earlier?
No, I think this is the first time they mentioned
No,
Fox
it
Die.
was briefly mentioned in that when you see Liquid and Ocelot in that room before he shoots the
Yeah.
keypad. We mentioned I'm adding the Fox Die vaccine to the demands. He's like, well,
Yeah,
what's
the
that?
list of, yeah. The list
Oh
of demands,
yeah, you're right. Never mind.
And then
yeah,
he
forgot about
mentioned
that.
later on, oh yeah, that's to do with you, Snake.
Yeah, you've
so,
caused this.
yeah, so she gets quickly recaptured, and Campbell just says, "Hey, this is the finish your mission. Just don't worry about
Just
it."
do the thing.
So you do the thing, and you activated the Metal Gear. Whoops. That's
Which, if you remember, with the
Did
when
I
the,
do
with
that?
Darpa Chief.
because the
The
Darp
fake
Chief
Darpa
died,
Chief.
that meant they didn't get the code. So that's why they planned this whole rules thing, so Snake would do it himself.
really, Solid Snake should have connected the dots
Yes.
way
Well, that's-
earlier and
well,
figured this
when I'm-
out.
He's a bit dim as.
Because
Snake
I've
at points in
played
this
it
game.
before, so I knew the whole. So I was thinking, why isn't Snake questioning this more? But I suppose for the sake of the
Well, the fact
story.
he didn't call it the Master Miller was actually Liquid Snake the whole time is also a little bit disconcerting.
Yeah,
If he knows him that well.
The dramatic
That
reveal
is odd as
with,
well.
with undoing the ponytail and taking off the sunglasses. Like,
But
it's
you've
me.
known this man for years. There's no way you don't recognize him on codec. There's no way. There's zero chance.
He does such a good American accent.
I know, and he's like, oh, wow.
He was talking about how my instincts as a game.
Yeah.
Is that when you get the whole enfant terrible exposition?
Yes.
It's not after the Rex fight.
Yeah, maybe this is where it explains Foxdie and what it does.
Oh, okay.
That the Foxdie is basically a virus that attacks certain people with certain DNA and kills them, sort of like a heart attack.
Yeah, it's like you
And
get
that's
like
really
a-
good
a-
5G connections.
It makes the grey
Yeah.
foxes die, foxhounds die, so fox die. It's very on the nose for a name for a virus,
Yeah.
but there we are.
Yeah, so Solid Snake basically wasn't meant to actually recover the DARPA chief and arms X. He was basically sent there to clean up the mess because the Metal Gear uses the technology that's basically a big no-no in the weapons making community, and it also
A
Big no. Nuke's
especially-
bad. I mean,
There's also a big subplot here with the president of the United States in the background negotiating like a nuclear treaty with Russia. And
then if they find out they've got secret stealth nukes, it's like, wait a minute.
a slight oopsie on their end, yeah.
Where did those come from?
So it's like the meeting, like, so we did something wrong. Don't get mad.
I didn't do it.
So that's when you fight Metal Gear itself. In the how did you fight this boss battle?
It could be controlled better.
If you know how the missiles work, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, but I mean, even then, it's still a bit awkward.
Yeah, I didn't like it. The first part I didn't like, especially. I found that really frustrating.
It's like having a two-part boss battle without a checkpoint system is also not very good.
Yes, it's
Trying to
terrible.
evade the missiles is an absolute. I can avoid the machine gun fire and the laser
I think
thing.
the
That's fine, but
missiles,
those
you have to-
missiles are.
You have to like get close to it because then they can't aim
You
down.
have to move in a
much.
certain way to
Yeah.
avoid them, and
Yeah.
it's not easy. Because you get
Can you-
close, they'll start using close range weapons
Can
on
you
you. So
can you guess how fun that was with a PSP Go aiming? By the way,
I'm gonna say
Yeah.
a
But
whole lot
you're
of
really
fun,
good at this game, Johan. It should be fine.
as you keep telling us. Yeah.
it was not fun. I'll tell you that much. I like
Yeah.
that fight, but not on the PSP Go.
I like aspects of it. I think it's the scope and the ambition was
Yeah.
there, but the execution not quite.
I'll say it was
but-
fun to watch on my long play the second
Yeah.
time round.
What I like was the additional little detail on the radar. You can see the vision code of the Metal Gear.
It's
And
fucking huge.
Massive.
I didn't clock that. I was too much in fear of my life.
So
Well,
anyway,
that's part of the way one of the ways you're supposed to be is to like make it so it doesn't know where you are. But obviously, with the vision cone that big, you have to be quite clever with that.
So, midway through the fight, Grey Fox appears and helps you out by disabling one of the.
By getting himself
Things.
killed.
Yeah. Very also
was
reveals
so
that he was,
badass.
he was the one who killed Naomi Hunter's parents as well. It's like, oh, well, jeez. This is
Odd-
so
odd, like,
terrible.
Yeah, weird system. Yeah, I kind of got a bit kind of like, okay, at that point, I got
So,
a bit lost.
Regarding the voice actor, the voice actor for Grey Fox in this game is Greg Eagles, who also voiced the DARPA chief for Decoy Octopus. In the Twin Sex remake, he was recast with Rob Paulson, aka
Paulson,
Pinky from
Jesus.
Pinky and the Brain.
It's a hell of a change, okay.
Yeah,
I don't think they didn't sound like Pinky. I'm assuming.
no.
Oh, Gee,
we are
DARPA
not-
Chief, what we're doing
That's the game
tonight?
I want to play.
We are
So-
not tools of the government, Snake. So anyway, one heroic sacrifice later, you fight the Metal Gear again, do the same things, and then you defeat the Metal Gear, and then you get knocked out by
This game loves
something.
making you do the same thing repeatedly. It's brilliant.
Yeah. You wake up on top of the flaming Metal Gear with Liquid Snake
with no
shirtless.
shirt.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
on top somehow of the Metal Gear, even though it's been blown up below you.
But
Like,
Snake never questioned that he'd been undressed like while he was unconscious.
Show me
but
your abs,
okay.
brother.
It might as well go from being on the ground to being on top of Metal Gear suddenly. He's levitated up towards the top of it.
I want to see the
here-
scene where he pulls him upwards, like they're like, "Come on."
So here's the big reveal that Solid Snake and Liquid Snake are in fact clones of the big boss. the most legendary soldier that ever soldiered. And
The best name for any like boss character ever. Yeah, I'm this big boss. Okay.
yeah. Also, Liquid claims that he got all the recessive genes and Snake got all the dumb. So that's not how genes work. If you look
You were
at
beta male.
biology textbook.
Yeah. My
You
genes
see,
are
Liquid, I'm the alpha, you're the beta.
my genes are Levi's, yours are just wankers.
Aldi's.
And it's revealed
Aldi
that
Snake.
Liquid saying it's basically his whole deal is that he hates his dad so much that he did this entire thing just to surpass him. And also, yeah.
Well, he's
It's all
pissed
daddy
Classic
issues.
daddy issues.
He's also pissed off that Snake killed him. I mean,
Yeah.
he didn't have the chance to kill him, so.
Anyways, Liquid tells
Normal
Solid
behavior.
Snake, Liquid tells Solid Snake to call his buddies or at Foxhound in the Colonel Campbell. Where he
And
tries
he'll
to
just
get,
wait and chill while he's doing that conversation. He's no rush.
He knows the codex system. He can't interact until he's done.
Yeah. Colonel Campbell reveals that the Shadow Moses Island is about to get blown into hell. And then, as Colonel Campbell tries to delay it, the late character appears here. It's goddamn Secretary of Defense deciding to
Yeah, that was a
his
bit of
presence known.
a tonal shift. I was like, who the fuck's this guy?
Was this crusty old love?
No, I don't care about this guy. It's too late to start adding in new characters that are like big baddies. I don't care
It's
anymore.
like, it's the real baddies all along, the government.
That's
I knew
always-
it.
Basically, he wants to rid Shadow Moses Island off the map to
Because
not pin anything on the president. And then Solid Snake has a little fist fight with a time limit on top
Which
of
goes
the
on
Metal Gear.
for a very long time.
at which point then Liquid mentions, oh, in 3 minutes you could like just have the sex with me if you want.
Yeah, Meryl's
like
is
really
laying
weird.
off screen.
It's like, why you
Well-
mention this? I just imagine Snakes. It's like, maybe.
This is like the second crescendo at this point after fighting Rex and then fighting the shirtless bad guy on top of the fallen Metal Gear. That feels very much like a finale right there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, so you think. So yeah, you defeat Liquid with punch kick off the Metal Gear.
Yeah.
punch kick.
Which he says will kill you if you fall off.
Well, you didn't fall off. You're hanging.
Well, it
but-
kills you, yes.
And yet, when
Oh.
he falls off, he somehow miraculously survives. Which we won't
Yeah,
go
so
into.
you
But-
meet Meryl. At this point, the story sort of splinters if Meryl is alive or not. Because if you gave in to the torture way back, the Meryl will be dead at this point.
It's such a strange thing to hinge the ending of the game on.
Yeah.
I thought it might be a case of you didn't do something in a certain time limit, or like if you didn't like get the sniper rifle in time before she
Yeah,
passes
'cause, I
away,
mean, given
then that would make more sense to me. But
Of all the openness of like where you can approach the game, the fact that that's the only thing that determines these two very binary endings that don't actually change
it's very
that
arbitrary.
much. It's
So,
maybe it's a missed opportunity, but never mind.
100%.
So one of the things, basically the one thing that changes that to who you escape with is either Meryl or Otacon. But there's
God, it's Meryl in my game. I tell you what.
However, in the Otacon ending, did you actually watch that?
I did.
Are you gonna do the name thing? Talk about the name thing, or
No, later.
Okay.
There's a big reveal here if Meryl is dead that you won't get otherwise. And that is that Meryl Silberg isn't Colonel Campbell's niece. She's his daughter from an illicit affair he had with his brother's fiancée.
Shitty thing to do.
that
Also-
just randomly dropped there. If Meryl is dead, I was like, hey, wait a minute.
It's completely out of place, and this ruins
It's
the
like, well,
tone. And it's like,
since she's not going to find out anymore, I guess I can say.
it's like I didn't ask her. No, why are you giving me this dirt? I don't need it. I don't need the tea right now. Just,
In
Yeah,
case you're not feeling bad enough already, Snake.
that ending is non-canonical, so I'm guessing it's not really a big issue. I mean, is the Colonel canonically Meryl's dad? Or is that just something?
Yeah,
they added
that's.
in the
I guess
non-canon
that's.
ending?
That's.
if I
in the
remember
canon.
correctly, in 4, yes.
But they only reveal it during the non-canon. It wasn't entirely sure if that ending itself
It's
was
weird
still
because
part
I
of the
think
canon.
both
despite that.
endings are kind of canon, at least what happens in them. But
Yeah.
The Otacon one
but
builds.
none of the neither Meryl or Otacon are like dead or
Yeah.
based on
Because
the future games.
Yeah, in 4 she's alive, so yeah, and well, Otacon's as well, but
We kind of glossed over the whole, before you get to the ending of the game, you have to go through this really tedious shootout sequence where you get ambushed in a car park, first and foremost, which I thought was really fun. Thank you for that.
Yeah, but you have no weapons at this point either.
Yeah, so you just need to evade and dodge until Meryl can put the key in the ignition, or Otacon, I guess.
It's the kind of thing that in a future game would probably just be like a long cutscene rather than this really arbitrary gameplay section.
This very long like hallway sequence where Liquid Snake just won't fucking die. Like, my God.
He comes back, he's like, I remember playing that the first time.
He's
back!
He's built different.
Can I say one thing? I've forgotten, because I was playing it, and the aiming thing from third person, I was like, oh, I'm not hitting him, and then I realized, oh, I can do first person.
Yeah,
that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, it is, but I've forgotten that. So
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just hold it for.
That's going to be.
Shooting him from behind was fine. Shooting him from like a side-on view and you're going through the pillars and stuff. That's just an absolute ball.
Is that going to be the title of the episode? I didn't know you could do that.
No,
It'd be a common issue.
More like the game didn't tell me I could do that. I'll only hold your hands when you're really needing me to do things that don't need hands held for.
But then
skill issue.
You crash your car and everyone dies at the end.
Yeah.
And then Liquid gets up again. My first thought was, oh, not going to be a fourth boss battle here. Surely fucking not. This game's getting turned off otherwise. But no, I bet he gets Deus Ex Fox died right at the end. And then
Fox died,
well timed. Good timing for it. Midway with a gun pointed at your face. And then he keels over. After he gets back up again and tries to go again. Is that only in the Twin Snakes cutscene he does that?
Yeah, that's funny. I was like,
where he has like a Fox die fake out death, and then comes back, and then Fox dies again.
I don't know.
That's right. You knew there was something though, because he was playing the Fox die Tommy Rumbly music.
Wait, that's Fox Die's music.
So yeah, then the ending.
Really mushy bit at the end, which again feels really out of place given that they've met each other for a grand total of like half an hour of in-game time.
Unless you rate Otacon, I suppose that makes more sense. They've had more dialogue with each other.
Yeah.
Hal and Dave, let's go.
Yeah, they do the whole 2001 Space Odyssey.
Yeah, it's like, but does that mean that his name is officially Dave? I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
I can't take him seriously being called Dave. I'm sorry.
I didn't think about that until I was thinking like
from Only Fools and Horses.
Yeah, it's basically like I don't remember how that cutscene goes, but he's like, does he ask like, "What's your name?"
Hey, Hal and Dave.
Yeah,
so that's fun.
Hal and Dave.
It's time to have ourselves a 2001 space.
Don't they have like a really stupid laugh together, like ha 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 ha?
Yeah, there's this odd like end of a sitcom laugh, and it's like, oh good god, like a buddy comedy. I was like, I hate this ending. I want it to be erased from my memory.
And then you get a long cutscene with full motion video.
Yeah, and during this whole ending, Dr. Naomi Hunter basically tells us, I reprogramed the Fox Eye thing to maybe kill you someday, but who knows? Just live your life.
It's like, so how long have I got left? It's like,
YOLO, Snake, YOLO.
50 years or 5 minutes.
How many more games can I be?
You can just vibe now, Snake. It's fine.
Yeah.
I really do enjoy this ending song. It's really nice.
Yeah.
It's it was written in Japanese and then translated into Gaelic. A song by an Irish singer.
The language of my people.
I just realized I love this game now. I have that soundtrack somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know where.
Yeah,
I don't know why I'm looking around my room because it's nowhere here.
It's on my Metal Gear Solid State drive.
It's on your fucking Hideo Kojima shrine.
Yeah.
But then,
Hey Arnold ass shrine put away somewhere.
My beloved.
My dear Hideo.
Then, after the credits, we get some additional things. Because, Revolver Ocelot, we need to check out what he's doing. He's having shadowy conversations
Meanwhile,
with
this singer at the end, I love. This thing is fantastic.
Whoever he's talking to is referred to as Solidus, the third Snake brother. And then the last
takes a well-balanced individual such as yourself.
Yeah, and then the very last reveal that the Solidus is the President of the United States.
But besides that as well, doesn't he say that it was the other way, that he had the recessive genes?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that it was actually Jesus.
I mean, Liquid was able to shoot at Snake and drive at the same time.
Yeah.
Then
And he survived falling from a Metal Gear. He survived being crashed in the hind. This guy's got some good genes.
Yeah, but then and then it continues in Metal Gear Solid 2, where Solidus shows up.
Well, let's not spoil.
It's not spoil. He's one of the main baddies from the beginning.
You need to stop giving me spoilers for games I've not played.
It's not
before.
a spoil. He's the main baddie.
If you haven't never played,
You won't know that when you play the game.
That would I?
But you'd know
Anyway,
that they were a
this game's
character, but
just
you wouldn't know the context.
This game's just a shit chicken run. So that's the end of it.
Those snakes are up to something.
It does have replayability as well, because when you finish it, depending on your score, you get different things unlocked.
No snake escapes from Shadow Moses.
I'm sick and tired of minuscule nuclear weapons.
Because you get
Fox hounds are revolting.
you get
Oh no!
You get the bandana that's unlimited ammo, don't you? And then if you do something with Otacon, you
Is
get...
that what the bandana does?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? Of course it is.
Because it's a running
Idiot.
joke later. And then I think
then
if you get
Spoiler. Okay, cool.
if you get something with Otacon, you actually get a stealth suit. If I remember correctly.
We said there
You
was
can
only
play for the
5
game with the
available.
substitute.
Wait, where do you get the stealth suit from?
No, if you
It's
get
a
the
new
Otacon
game
ending,
plus.
If you get the bad ending, you get something that's actually a lot cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also,
Okay.
if
I
also,
don't know,
here's the
Infinite
thing,
Ammo's pretty cool.
here's the extra bonus thing. If you-
Gunplay
if-
shit though, so not really.
If you beat the game of, I believe, on the third playthrough, Snake has a tuxedo during the game.
Oh yeah, you could get the tuxedo. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not
Because
putting through
why
that 3
not?
more times. No fucking way.
So, anyways, that's Metal Gear Solid.
So I will say that I had a hard time with it. It's I think as a cinematic experience, I had a lot of fun with it. I think watching it the second time around, I had a lot more fun than actually playing it the first time. And I think it had a lot of mechanics that I could see being improved upon and being made really good in sequels. But as a proof of concept, it's fine. As a game in its own right, I don't think it's aged really well.
yeah.
Well, is
it's
it
a
what you would
time.
expect from a game of that era, or would you think even at the time it was things?
It's difficult because obviously 3D gameplay was still being sort of
when we
worked on at this
when we
point.
did the Banjo-Kazooie episode, I think a lot of that
I
was
was going
based
to say,
around.
we mentioned that a
'Cause
lot
it
of
came out the
control
same
and
time.
camera things were going on at that point. You had games like Resident Evil that had like fixed camera angles, but even they were tank-based at the time. Spyro the Dragon came out the same year. That had quite a decent camera / control.
It was pretty solid.
Hey, you're a funny guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was what I would expect from a kind of a pre-2000s PS1 game, which is just good and bad in its own ways. So I'm not going to give it like a major downgrade for being of its time, because that's not really fair. You know, you can't really gauge how well games will age until they've actually aged. So I won't hold that against it. But yeah, I think I could see the potential there, but I don't think I'll be playing it again anytime soon.
I get the very expensive.
But you're gonna.
remake.
It makes you want to play the sequels at least. I'm guessing.
I am now curious to go and see that if the sequels improve on the actual core gameplay mechanics.
Oh, yeah,
I would be
yeah.
quite curious to play through. I know that 2 and 3 are on the PS2, I believe, so I can get them easily enough. 4 is a bit of a grey area, but you can get 5 on Steam still.
You
so
can
that's
get
quite handy.
you can get the GameCube Twin Snakes for everything between £60 to £100 used.
Okay,
No,
I mean, have
thank
you guys
you.
played Twin Snakes?
I own it.
Oh,
I
yeah,
haven't.
I have it. Yes.
Is it a more pleasant gameplay experience than?
It is a way easier gameplay experience. Because
Yeah, I've heard
of all
that
the additional
it changes
things.
quite a lot of things
Yeah,
that weren't actually
it's-
in the base game. I heard that actually
mean-
breaks a couple of things that weren't in the base game that were kind of
Yeah,
not
I
meant to
haven't-
be
I
in the
haven't-
base game.
I haven't played it, but from one side, it improves the gameplay. But I think the changes they make to the way the
The
cutscenes
story, the
stuff,
cutscenes?
it's kind
I've
of
heard
like
it,
it's kind
I've
of-
heard it
kinda-
makes
you
some
either
gameplay
like it
things
or you
almost
hate it.
trivial. Yeah, I heard it makes some like boss battles almost trivial by their very nature.
Yeah.
You can beat them in like 10
Yeah.
seconds because
Yeah.
they get the same system for mechanics that's been completely changed.
Best thing is the aiming, because it takes Metal Gear Solid 2
Yeah.
aiming.
Yeah.
Because aiming is
So-
one thing that I haven't had a hard time with. So yeah, if they can improve that, then I might be curious to go and
Yeah.
play Twin Snakes at one point, and then
Yeah.
going on to play 2 and 3 and stuff.
I think it's
later on,
I
so-
would recommend if you you only play it if you've played the original as well, because I
Yes,
mean,
it gives
playing it
context,
as
yes.
your first Metal Gear, I would not do that.
The game has whetted my appetite. I'll give it that much.
Twin Snakes would give you a wrong impression of what the rest of the franchise actually is if you watch those cutscenes.
So is it quite a deviation gameplay-wise from the...
Not
gameplay, but I mean, like, from the narrative point of view.
Yeah, I've seen the cutscenes, and yeah, they're interesting, to put them mildly. So yeah, that's something. But yeah, it's piqued my curiosity, this game, enough that I'd want to carry on and see what the other games are like. So whether or not we do that as part of this, or I do it myself, that's yet to be discussed. But
not obviously not like the very next episode. We already have that plan, but at some point later on, I think we should talk about the other Metal Gear games. I think there's a lot of improvements to talk about.
No, I'll give this game a solid...
There's a lot of plot to talk about.
This is a solid 7.5 from me, I say.
I give this
solid.
1 thumbs up. I will give this one solid thumbs up.
5 out of 10 then. Okay. Jesus, savage.
I must agree that this game has it's showing its age, but I wouldn't say I hate it.
I think it's aged better than a lot of other games at the time. At least in some aspects. There's other aspects not so much.
I think, like, narrative-wise, it holds up pretty well.
Yeah. And that's the main selling point of the game anyway.
And I would say that the stealth mechanics hold up pretty well. But I think it's just mostly, when it tries to make you do action, I think that's when it starts to get a little bit... You can see some of the rust starting to appear on it a little bit. So, I think it does more right than it does wrong historically. So,
Yeah.
That's good.
Johan, your thoughts?
It's
I'm
good.
a snake.
I'm Snake.
Snarky.
Anyways,
Snarky.
Let's finish up the conversation by announcing what we're gonna do next.
Tic-tac-toe.
Banjo-Tooie.
No.
Good guess, but no.
Have we agreed?
There's a big game release, or perhaps re-release, happening in the coming month. One Resident Evil 4 is getting a remake, and we thought, well, what better time than now than to revisit
another classic.
Are we gonna play the GameCube, the PS2, the Wii?
Dealer's choice, Johan.
I played the phone port of.
I was gonna say yeah.
You can play it on your Cibo. I don't fucking care.
Oh, good. Was there an Ouya port I'm playing that? I'll guess the Android.
Oh, Gizmondo.
Oh, good grief. Yeah, so we're playing that game in some form. To be announced.
Then we'll talk about it.
It won't be the remake, that's for sure. It'll be one of the older ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's going to be entertaining.
Which of the
hopefully
remakes?
That should be... Oh god, there's like 4, isn't there?
No, there's 2.
But there's remasters, but there's only one remake.
Okay,
what about
the
the
fair
GameCube
enough.
one? The GameCube one's a remake.
No, it's not.
Is it?
I'd call it a remake.
It's an upscale, isn't it? I thought it was the same.
No.
Let's have this conversation next.
Alright.
Well, we're knocking on 2 hours soon, so let's get...
I was talking about Resident Evil 3. Sorry, I was talking about Resident Evil 3.
You fool.
Anyway, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Nano machines.
I hate Oddcon. Good god.
Mr. President.
I'm glad he pissed himself.
Happy birthday, Mr. President.
One of the best additions to Twin Sex is the fact that Oddcon pisses himself twice in a row.
I didn't even clock that. Double piss. All the way, double piss.
Stinky.
Metal Gear Solid Twin Piss.